Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of an earlier stream today, but we are welcome today. Some of you may enjoy it. It is Trench Grenade and, of course, Richard. But before we get going into today's topics, how is your day going, Mr. Trench?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm living in the copium and the hopes and dreams of all PSA and Goobers fanboys today.
Yeah, you managed to upset two of the most diehard fan bases on the internet in
I
the course
felt
of
it
24
too.
hours.
I felt it. I was hitting legs, and I felt like I started seeing the subscriber count like dwindling quickly, and I saw the hate was just coming in. I'm like, oh man, oh, the Goobers video.
Yeah, that one popped off. Richard, before we get into it, how is your day going, sir?
Great. I missed all the drama, so I'm here just in time to catch up on all of the juicy details.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's going to be kind of a shorter stream, I imagine. But it's just Trench wanted to come on and give his side of the story and kind of talk through the happenings. So do you want to give us a little preface here, Trench, or should we kind of move along to what kicked everything off?
Okay, so I'll give them the lore, right? I have a lot of lore. Which one do you want to discuss first? Do you want to discuss the Goobers lore?
Let's do GBRS first, and then we'll move into PSA.
So GBRS came onto my radar. Came onto my radar about 6 months ago, where I started seeing them giving blatant bad advice to their audience. Right? I don't know how many subscribers they have. We'll have to pull that at some point. But I think it's north of 400,000 subscribers, and I started noticing major issues. How many is it?
471.
Yeah, so that's so 500,000. So they're giving advice to 500,000 people, and it's bad advice. I would say, to give a rough estimate, 85% of the time or more, it's very bad advice, right? And I have a literal list of things we're going to talk about, things that I've made videos on, and some things that I haven't, that I've just kind of laughed it off with my Discord and some guys in real life. But the lore of this is, I started kind of making reaction videos, which I don't like to do on my channel a lot. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go subscribe if you enjoy not bought and paid for stuff, kind of like what Focus is running here, right? Like more genuine stuff. But I started noticing Goobers posting things that were blatantly wrong just to get clicks, right? And a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight is stuff that could get you killed, right? And they're targeting an audience of dudes that may or may not have a body fat percentage that's over the number of 26%, and people that have a little bit of money that are looking to make themselves better. But where I think they go wrong is they're outdated. And a lot of guys in chat, I'll read it here in a second, are probably going to say they're a Navy SEAL. Everything they're saying, if you ask pretty much anybody that's still serving today, is outdated and just irrelevant bad advice. And even the more Minuteman, prepared citizen crowd, good guys can pick up on a lot of the BS they're putting out there. So that is like a little bit of the backstory and some of the lore. I have 10 talking points, if we get into it, on them, on things like legitimate bad takes and bad advice that they have spread to 500,000 people, right? So that's kind of the backstory. And then it all came to fruition when they made a video, I believe about 24 hours ago now. They released a video saying to take all sighting systems off the gun, put up a target, and what they refer to as natural point of aim. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I'll give you my quick pedigree. Senior NCO, right? Doesn't matter, but I've been training people professionally for the past 3 years as a drill sergeant and now a drill sergeant leader. That means I'm a drill sergeant that makes future drill sergeants, right? I train future drill sergeants. So all of that is to say, when I see somebody putting blatant bad advice out there that is just to make them money, like a Hydra mount, we'll get into that probably later on. But and that's honestly the least of the issues. But yeah, that is where the lore. They made a video talking about natural point of aim, which is not natural point of aim. We'll talk about what natural point of aim actually is.
So this is something that I jumped on too, because somebody sent this into the Discord, this video about how taking basically all of the optics, everything off the rifle, and then doing drills at like maybe 3 to 5 yards to check your natural point of aim. And so that's where I made just this meme, because essentially the advice that they were giving in the video, we don't need to watch the whole video. It was like, hey, you guys should try this out sometime. You can shoot paper from 3 yards away with no sights. And it's like, yeah, but that's built off of 100,000 reps of doing it with sights. So there are some disciplines where shooting without optics and point shooting, you can practice it. you know, and for some very high level shooters, you absolutely can do this to kind of like fine tune your mechanics, if you will. But for 99.9% of people who are not at that level or not in those disciplines, it's absolutely useless. And so for me, this is just making fun of them because it's dumb, right? It's a waste of time. It's funny, it's dumb, and it's a meme video to me.
Right. And where I think where I had the most issue, one, you ignited my hatred even more because then I like you fueled my fire because I was like, this is bad. And then when I saw that you saw their video too, I was like, okay, this is a problem. And if multiple people are seeing this video, I'm like, this is dumb. I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about it. But what he's trying to talk about, what Goobers DJ Shipley is trying to say, is index shooting, like shooting the backplate of your Glock, right? That is what I think that's where he started at. But I also, so natural point of aim, for those that don't know, natural point of aim is also known as the gun target line. That means for zeroing purposes or for long distance shooting, what you do is you get behind the carbine or the rifle in the prone firing position or really any supported firing position. And as you're behind the gun, you get a good sight picture on target. You close your eyes for 3 seconds. You open your eyes back up. And then what is going to happen is that gun is going to naturally drift to, drum roll, natural point of aim. Right.
That's right.
Yep, your gun target line. So where I got so infuriated with this video is I teach this like literally all the time, and then these guys are here talking about natural point of aim, and I'm like, brother, if one of my candidates took the CCO off their gun, flipped down their backup iron sight, and started shooting, that's like a serious problem. Like, I know I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion, but it is a serious problem.
No, it's a very serious problem because, like, we'd be kicked off of the range if we did that.
Yes, it's a problem, right? And it's negligent.
Now, let's just lay it out for a second. So natural point of aim is usually referred to as like a shooting technique for precision rifle shooting. That is usually the way that it's used. And here's Francis of Team MDT, fantastic shooter, actually has a great video explaining it if you want to walk through it, where they test their natural point of aim with a precision rifle bagged, all that sort of fun stuff. It is kind of misused for, like you said, it's more like index shooting or point shooting, whatever you want to call it, right? But it's not the right term. Natural point of aim is not the correct term for what GBRS is doing.
And a lot of guys will think, okay, I'm missing high or low. My shot group is stringing elevation issues, right? Where the shot group, when they're grouping or shooting, is stringing up and down. And they'll say the first thing out of their mouth, like, oh, you're breathing. And then that's incorrect, right? That's in relation to where their belt buckle is in relation to the gun. And then when you get stuff from left and right, a lot of guys will say, oh, that's trigger squeeze. That's also incorrect and outdated information. That is your natural point of aim. So basically what will happen is as you're engaging, if my body position is incorrect, the gun will naturally begin to shift to wherever my belt buckle, my natural point of aim, is actually occurring, right? Where my gun target line is. So it's obvious to me, and this is just U.S. Army doctrine, right? You can reference everything I'm saying in the .40, the MMTC handbook, or just any AMU, Army Marksmanship unit shooter can tell you what I'm saying right now. But basically, if you're getting left or right stringing, that is not just because trigger control, that's where your gun target line. So the gun naturally wants to drift to wherever your belt buckle is pointing at. But these goobers thought that they would just go out with a tagline of natural point of aim. It would be better if they would have said gun target line because I could have given them a little bit of slack. But instead they said natural point of aim, and now they're just blatantly doctrinally incorrect and they're unsafe at the same time.
Well, so let's talk about the unsafe thing, because I don't even necessarily subscribe to the doctrine of like the natural point of aim where it points to your belt buckle. I think it's different for different people because you can change different dynamics and it's going to change it a little bit, the way you're gripping the gun, where your vision's at, more so than just like you're pulling slightly to the left, so you need to like adjust your hips. Maybe there's some generic truth to that, but I think it's a lot more individual than just that. But let's talk about the safety thing, because I think this might be where me and you disagree. Right. I don't think that shooting paper at 3 to 5 yards without sights is unsafe.
So I don't either. But what I do think is unsafe is a person with 500,000 subscribers telling that entire demographic, you should try this. You should go out to whatever unknown range, because everyone has different varying range. Indoor shooting, right? So a lot of people on their channel that subscribe to them are going to take the optic off their gun. They're going to go to an indoor range or go to whatever range from whatever unknown distance, and they're going to start doing this. beep, whoa, and you're just flying rounds everywhere. That is where I think it begins the unsafe factor, because you don't know everyone's scenario. Yes, shooting, hip firing into trash, like I have on some of my videos. Is there a level of unsafe to that? Yes. However, if I have a berm that's at least 15 feet high and I'm aiming, at 5 feet into the berm, that's not unsafe. What is unsafe, and where I think we disagree, is telling you have to be responsible for your words. And when your sphere of influence is anybody other than your family and close friends, when it's a large 500,000, group of people, and you're saying go shoot paper with no optic, and you don't know their scenario or their level of training, that is unsafe, in my opinion.
So I got to stick up for Trench on this one, because my outdoor range is 120 yards is where the berm starts. It's about a 25 foot tall berm. If somebody was to set paper at 3 to 5 yards and engage it from the actual shooting point, that would be basically skipping rounds into the dirt and over the berm.
Right.
Sure. So I think that maybe where we'll disagree here is that I think that, yeah, sure, you're responsible for everything that you say, but I think that's a very, very fine line, because if I say, hey, here's a technique that you can try, like let's say one-handed shooting or something, and then some retard goes and does something stupid while
they fire on
shooting,
recoil or something.
Right. Yeah. That's not my fault that they did that. So even though I disagree with DJ's technique here and the usefulness of this at all, like I don't necessarily think that I could hold him responsible if somebody else puts themselves into a stupid situation without skills. Right now, he does have a very big audience, so I think that, I think the whole thing is stupid, basically. Right. I think it's a waste of time. Don't do this. But if somebody else does something stupid down the line, I wouldn't necessarily hold DJ responsible for that. Because I mean, at some point, you got to be responsible for your own actions. Right. So if some low IQ retard tries to do this at like Richard's like 30-yard range or whatnot, and he's, throwing rounds over the berm, like that's on him.
Yeah, there are a bunch of retards there. But if somebody was to even try that at this range, they would just be thrown out. They'd be kicked out. The RSOs there are extremely, extremely strict on the stuff that they allow. Like if they seen somebody pulling their optic off, flipping their sights down and trying to shoot at all, they would stop cold range and pull them off to the side. But
I'm not sure about I've shot with no optics at a range before. It was specifically when I was testing like 20 different uppers that I had out at one time. So I mean,
a lot of ranges have a 1-strike rule. Like my range has a 1-strike rule, and it's like it keeps the idiots out of there, because what they'll do is they'll keep an eye on the idiots that show up. Boom, you're out of here. You know what I mean? You just paid $350 for your year or whatever it is, $250 for the year, and you're done right now. And I don't know if they refund them, but I think it's okay for us to disagree. I just think I harp all the time to my candidates about sphere of influence, and you're responsible for your words. And this guy, he's a former Navy SEAL, a SEAL Team 6 guy. His words hold weight. And when he goes online and he says all these stupid things that we're going to talk about here tonight.
Wait, a SEAL said something stupid?
Imagine that, right? What are the other ones? And Green Berets say stupid stuff too. Look at Tim Kennedy. And that's just a lowly infantryman talking, right? But I think you're responsible for your words, right? And like you do reviews all the time, Focus, and you tell people your opinion. Normally you give them hey, this is just my experience. Go test it for yourself. And the same thing with we're going to talk about the PSA dagger test and all the idiots that say that I was paid for by PSA because it was working, and now all of a sudden I hate PSA because it stopped working. It's like people have no. Yes, they're like, you're bought and paid for because it worked for 3,999 rounds. And on the 4,000th round, I looked down and was like, oh, damn, this thing's jacked up. But all that to say is DJ Shipley is living in his own main character parade. He wakes up in the morning. He goes on Renaissance Periodization, Joe Rogan, all these shows, right? Sean Ryan show, cringe as fuck. We can talk about that later if you want. But goes on all these shows, and he's got main character syndrome, and he owns a business, and there's a ton of things I want to cover about him and his treating his employees and stuff, right? But he understands that his words have meaning, and then he goes out, and all of a sudden he's like, yep, you guys should. I think in the video he says, you guys should try this. Like what? What are we doing?
So that's where we both agree, is that like it's useless for 99.9% of people. There's a couple disciplines like cowboy shooting or point shooting, and different things that you like, shotgun shooting too, if you're doing clays or whatnot, where point shooting can be really effective, but it's not shooting at 5 yards, 3 yards against paper targets to find your quote unquote like natural point of aim, right?
And there are US PSA shooters that will say like grandmasters, right? That will say, okay, I really didn't get a good sight picture on that round, but it was 3 feet away and my muzzle was almost touching it. I could see the back plate of my Glock or whatever. So yeah, I fired. It's still following the 4 rules of weapon safety. However, when you open it up to interpretation, you don't give a clear, concise guidance like Mr. Shipley did during his video. One of many stupid things that he said that we're going to talk about tonight. But when you open it up for interpretation as an instructor, and you got his website pulled up, so we'll talk about some of his instructor capabilities as well and some of his meet and greets. But it's obvious to me he's a very junior instructor that is just saying things that sound good in his head to get clicks, like natural point of aim.
And that's the wrong term. Now, just out of curiosity, have you ever seen this? The Haley strategic warm-up?
No.
100-round drill. So, okay, let's ask you guys some questions. What do you think the first 5 or 10 rounds are in this handgun warm-up drill by Mr.
I'm
Haley?
guessing a bill drill, because everyone does a bill drill. But
close. Okay, bill drill. Richard, what do you think?
Double doubles.
No, eyes closed, singles.
Oh no!
What?
Oh no!
No, let me see if I can find it. No, because he's also trying to find his natural point of aim in this video.
That's not natural point of aim.
No. Just, I think he's gonna walk through it. Let's watch this because this is very funny.
CET, tack reloads, and speed reloads all in one take. Okay, so if I was to work my kinesthetic alignment, first thing I'm gonna do.
Kinesthetic alignment, one of my favorites. Anyways, he's going blind.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Let me know if you get any, what am I trying to say, echo off my microphone at all, because I'm using the iPhone right now.
You're sounding okay right now.
Okay.
I only got a little bit when I talk boomy, but that's just me.
Is I'm working those black lines. So I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to wiggle a little bit, open my eyes, and it actually doesn't feel too bad. So I'm going to tell myself, eyes closed, and 5 rounds.
No. Why?
What?
4 rules of weapon safety. Let's just go over them. Treat all weapons if they're loaded. Keep your fingers straight off the trigger until you're ready to engage. Always be aware of your target and its surroundings, and never point the weapon at anything you don't intend to destroy. So you broke 2. You broke 2 of them right off the bat.
Let's just get the full context. The full context here. This is very funny.
A little bit, open my eyes, and it actually doesn't feel too bad. So I'm going to tell myself, eyes closed, and 5 rounds.
Now, again, there is no value to this. He is quite literally 3.5 feet away from that target. His eyes are closed. He's not going off of any sight picture. He's just going off of whatever feels natural, his kinesthetic alignment.
Who was it that roasted this dude? That about his whole like factory worth of, he said he was banging a doctor or married to a doctor, so he's a doctor and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? That's him, right?
He said some wacky things. I don't remember exactly what that was, but he's been on some very funny live streams. Yeah, he was on a live stream with Ben Steger after one of Haley Strategic's guys ended into the dirt.
Yes.
Right. And so they had the instructor and Haley on there, so it was a very, you should watch that. That's a great live stream as well.
In that video, he said he was married to a doctor, so he was a doctor, essentially is what he said. And then he said, so he understands the neurological pathways or something about the brain. And then he goes in, and then Ben Steger, I get his name wrong all the time, I'm sorry. He basically said, oh, so because you're banging a doctor, you are a doctor. He's like, if that's the case, then I'm an astronaut or something, which I thought.
Right, yeah.
So he's the tactical equivalent of Joe Biden?
Right.
Is that how that works?
I mean, I would rather, at this point, given what I've seen from Goobers, I'd rather have Joe Biden in a firefight. But
oof.
Hey, with a double barrel shotgun,
Biden's
he's bound to hit something.
Right. I lost chat as well. I was going to start reading their stuff just to give you guys
Oh no, they're having a good time. Yeah.
Okay, good. I was gonna try to feed the trolls, but I lost them. I'll try to get
all right,
them
well
back.
let's move on to the rest of your complaints with Goober's Group.
Okay,
Do
you
you
want
want to
me to
start
get
with
into the
dump
list?
pouches? Yeah, get into the list. Let's
First
go.
of all, boys, you're going to want to be a pro. So make a really bad t-shirt company, and you're going to want to sell it to middle-aged 40-year-old men that have no testosterone. They're 30% body fat. That's point number one. Okay. Dump pouches. They released a video saying that your dump pouch is going to be banging into everything and that it's just not efficient, you don't need to secure those magazines. He uses the phrase tactical reload and emergency reload, and I love that because that's also outdated FUD lore.
I do that same thing too, because I learned like off of YouTube videos from like 2016, right? And so yeah,
Right.
it's reload with retention or reload without retention.
And I was a private E1 in 2013, and that's what I was taught: emergency reload, tactical reload. But now I have to like tell my anyway. So dump pouches. He's basically saying you don't need to secure those magazines. Just dump them on the ground. You can get them later. It's like, okay, so you're telling 500,000 people, civilians, the majority, to just dump that mag on the ground. That's great advice for your dump pouch. Also, everyone needs a dump pouch. A lot of people use two, one on the front, an Aussie style, and one on the back, right? Crazy concept. So they're wrong about dump pouches. CQB accuracy. And you guys can tell me to shut up if you want to chime in.
No, go for it. Yeah, the dump pouch one was always funny to me because it's like, well, different people use it for different reasons. So I'm sure that like somewhere out there's a good application for a dump pouch. Like on the flat range, it's fantastic, but I mean, you see them on lots of people and kit in the real world. So, I mean,
dude,
I don't know. It seems to make sense to me.
Operators, standard infantry. I'm an airborne infantryman, right? And been a Bradley commander, so we use them all the time. It's a crazy concept. You need to keep things. And guess what? It's really cool to be able to throw an excess radio or something like that in and just close the retention pouch.
Yeah, but I know hikers that use them.
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. Light Fighters Anonymous says not everybody needs a dump pouch. Yeah, 100%. But not everybody.
Not everyone needs one. But they didn't say they didn't say not everyone needs one. They said don't. Because it's loud. They said it was loud. They said you don't need to retain magazines. They're wrong. Just you go watch their video and don't watch it, but go watch it.
Yeah, and then GB Guns follows up and says not every dump needs a pouch. Also true.
So what's the chance that this video was released specifically to draw in clicks and attention?
It got me right off the bat.
Are we talking about the carbine natural point of aim video? They have a lot of the videos that are a little bit wacky, I would say, and I mean it works really well because they get good views. So
I just saw someone in chat say, don't worry about Trench's credentials, I'll tell you every 5 minutes. It's not to pump up my ego, you idiots. It's to tell you my base of information. Think about that. You don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. But if I say, hey, you don't need a dump pouch, you might want to know why I'm saying that from my basis of information, my pedigree, insert pedigree, right? But you two understand that, right? I'm not trying to pump up myself. I'm trying to tell them my baseline of information. Okay. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, Jesus, that hurt. I'm sorry. I was dying.
Dude, these guys are crazy. They're the same guys. They're the same type of guy that's like, you hate PSA, now you love them, now you hate. It's like, dude, think outside the box. Focus Drift's audience doesn't know who I am. I don't know who Focus is. No, I'm just kidding. So, moving on.
Nobody knows who I am. I'm not real. I'm an internet personality. Come on,
bro. Focus and I were ranting about this a little bit earlier, but yeah. Okay, CQB recovery.
Yeah, Richard's even more of an enigma. Jeez.
I commented. Somebody said this co-host Richard guy is retarded, and I commented on the comment, and I was like, "Yeah, he's horrible. He needs to be gone." And like they didn't have a clue. They were responding to me like it was they're oblivious.
Yeah.
Anywho, go on.
Okay, CQB accuracy. They said you don't need to be precise in CQB. I would argue that the only time one of the main times you need to be accurate is precise is during CQB. If you have an enemy squad advancing at you at 350 meters, you don't need to be precise. You need to be accurate, right? Those words are interchangeable. But GBRS specifically has like a 20-minute video talking about, oh, I'm just going to snap that gun up and fire. It's like, and saying you don't need to be precise and use your gun like a hammer in CQB environments. And I'm like, I made a whole video on this.
It makes sense. Okay. They developed an optic mounting solution with a 5-inch height over bore. So you don't need to be accurate. And because your traps are eating most of your neck and you can't get your head down, you can just leave your head up, you know, walk around like that. I think it's a great idea.
And that's a whole, I have a video, and just for Focus's audience, right? A lot of you guys think I hate GWAT vets. Newsflash, I've been serving with GWAT vets. All my battle buddies are GWAT vets. So around that time, some idiot posted a video saying I hate GWAT vets because I said, hey, maybe if you're a SEAL Team 6 member from 2006, you're not relevant in 2024, 2025. And a lot of guys took that the wrong way because some idiot made a video saying that I was hating GWAT vets, right? So I don't hate GWAT vets. Okay, moving on. Natural point of aim, we already killed that one. That one's been killed. Moving on from there. Firing employees. Okay.
Well, are we talking about the employee who mishandled the firearm?
Right. So on the surface, from the initial reports, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. But the way that it was handled for the public, deleting comments and changing the narrative early on, not a good look. And if you claim to be a leader, right? He claims to be a leader. DJ Shipley specifically is who I'm talking about here. And you change the narrative and say, whatever the truth of the matter is, whether the employee sold the gun or shipped the gun to the wrong vendor or whatever actually happened, your knee-jerk reaction to fire said employee and then the way you handled it publicly, that's not a leader. That is someone trying to make a profit, and the second anything gets in the way, you burn them down, right? So whatever the truth of the matter is, it doesn't change the fact of how they handled the public outcry for it, in my opinion.
Well, to defend them a little bit in that, as far as I'm aware, that employee was actually just kind of retarded. And he dropped off a FedEx package at a UPS location and then didn't know what happened to it. So it was lost. Now they did, I believe, initially blame him and have him escorted off by police. Although there was some contradictory evidence to that because apparently one of the police officers knew GBRS and like really wanted to go in and like hang out with them. There was lots of weird stuff going on around there. But that employee who got fired, he also got $73,000 in a GoFundMe or something like that. Like it was a lot of money for him to basically off of his mistake too.
Well, if he was negligent, then he should be held accountable. I'm not trying to say if he was negligent, he should be held accountable. And if he is an idiot and he dropped a controlled item off of the wrong vendor, that's a problem.
There's video evidence of him doing it. And then later on the UPS, I think I might be getting UPS and FedEx mixed up, but the other driver goes in and grabs the package because he knows where it's supposed to go. So the situation did get settled. It was probably handled badly on both their sides, to be completely fair. Right.
Okay. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll just we'll nix that one, right? I'll just say I'm wrong, right? Cool. And Richard,
well, you can still have a problem with the way that they handled the situation initially, like deleting comments and whatnot, because that makes it look bad, right? Even if you're in the right, if you start, like lashing out at other people or doing things, like it makes it look bad. So you can say that they mishandled the situation still.
Right, and like I'm no one's boss, right? Especially I'm like a C-list or D-list YouTuber, but the way I handle bad comments or negative press, I leave it up so that way guys can either see the bad take or see if I was wrong. And when that comment gets 120 likes, okay, maybe I was wrong, or maybe there's a subcult of PSA fanboys in my comment section. It's one or the other, right? But negative comments can sometimes, a lot of times, you both can probably relate to this. A negative, bad comment can actually be a good thing because it can show that commenter's ignorance, or it can expose a truth where the content creator was wrong about something along the way. So a negative comment, I view it as it's always good unless it's doxing. Doxing is not or going after someone's family or kids. But other than that, negative comments normally bring out the truth somewhere, right?
Well, 100%. Yeah. So on that topic, negative comments are some of the most useful comments because you can understand where somebody's coming from, what they think that you did wrong, and like how to improve going forward. So I think negative, like it sounds strange, but yeah, negative comments are usually the most useful.
I mean,
there's people just being assholes, sure, but that's just like they're just blowing off steam on your YouTube page, right?
There's a lot of that. Now, speaking of comments, I see one here. RC said they called the cops for a quote unquote stolen lower and then tried to snitch on a weed pen. Sounds to me like the guy was high, didn't pay attention to what he was doing, dropped off a
It's possible.
lower at
That's
the
all.
wrong
That's all
spot.
conjecture. You don't want to slander the guy. Because speaking of slander, somebody in the chat posted this, so I thought I'd look into it. And yeah, GBRS won 300,000 because the guy called them racist, and they were apparently able to prove that they were not. Which slander is not an easy thing to prove, right?
Bro, imagine trying to prove that you're not racist.
Well,
like
they
following you
did, I
around
guess.
24/7.
Yeah. I don't know how it's like. Listen, guys, I have black friends or something. I don't know. And they
look at my
proved it in
Discord. Look at my Discord.
Yeah, look at my Discord.
Messages.
Yeah. Oh no,
My Discord
don't look
members
at my
love
Discord.
me.
Absolutely don't look at the Discord.
That
Hey,
is funny.
Can I reply to one of these? Hey, thanks for the
100%,
$2 battle rifles. He said, "Hey Trench, instead of clickbaiting, try integrity." Brother, I got news. You have to have something that drives you in. And then when you get to the first 20 seconds of the video, you know, right? What percent of clickbait, Richard and Focus, would you say is acceptable?
As long
Like
as it's
20%?
still in the video, as long as it's still in the video, I think it's fine. You could call my last thumbnail clickbaity because I had the live nut and fancy reaction meme in there, right? Literally the only reason that's there, that's the only reason. The only reason that picture is in there is because I had it on my pictures from cutting out for a different thing, and I had that face in my pictures, and I was like, that'll just go on the thumbnail. I'll just put that there, and then do the live nut and fancy reaction.
My favorite is the Shrek. You know the Shrek meme where he's like looking to the side? That's my favorite, to just throw in a thumbnail. This is all off Battle Rifles comment, right? But a thumbnail has to get engagement. Okay. And whenever Mr. Battle Rifle, whenever you make your channel, I don't know if you already have one, you're going to see that just posting a picture of you on the flat range is going to get 15 clicks. Posting a picture of you on the flat range and said anything, Tatiana the Dagger, 4,000. Guess what? You just got a little bit more engagement, right? Now, if you're dishonest, that's where it, now we're having a different conversation, right? But I feel like my channel has always had integrity, but I don't know. That's up to y'all to decide. But.
So the one thing I want to say is one video that got posted onto the Clips channel I did was slightly clickbaity. Was when John said that he had a talk with Garantham. All he did was literally say hi.
Wrong.
He pissed. Oh man, I pissed off a lot of people with that one, and all I did was clip the segment of him explaining. I seen Grantham. We said hi, shook hands. It was an amicable thing, and we went on about our ways. But I clipped that, and then I put a little snap of Grantham in the thumbnail just to draw on attention. And everybody came in, and they were pissed off. They're like, "This is so fucking retarded." And I did it just to see what people would click on because it had Garantham's face on it.
Yeah,
and they could clearly tell that he wasn't there talking because the picture that I clipped, he's wearing ear pro and eye pro. He's at the range, right? You can clearly tell that it is not what it is. But they're like, what am I even?
The internet is always going to internet, and you can always tell who is, not to use these two cringe terms, but based in cringe, right? Because you can tell by a commenter if they're like, it's a subtle joke, but they're dropping off to like okay, but here's my actual thought, right? One of these guys says, "What's up with Trench's voice? Does he yell a lot?" I wittowy yell for a living. I am wittowy a drill sergeant. So I have no voice.
It's either like the trend cough or it's the.
I wish I was on trend, bro.
That's another thing that we can talk about with GBRS is the fitness classes and whatnot and the lifestyle stuff when it's like obvious you're on exogenous hormones. So
I got it on the list.
Trench doesn't have a big enough forehead to be on trend.
Bro, if I was on trend, that's the only.
That's growth hormone.
Garantham, if he would have came out and said, because he is on trend, if he would have came out and said, "Hey, I'm on trend, but it took off 30 years of my life," I would have been like, that's the most base thing you've ever said. You're on trend, but you admitted that you're killing yourself. That's based, right? You're going to be jacked, but at least you're based. You're honest about it. Unlike saying dead advice. We're getting into a whole nother deal.
What are we talking about now?
Huh?
Oh, I thought we're okay. I'll go into the next thing here.
I mean, you want to talk about like steroid users pushing like fitness programs and whatnot? That's fun.
Well, we can hit that nail on the head real quick. So on the GBRS issue, Goobers offers what is it called? Meet and greets, right? But it's like a class version of a meet and greet where if you give them X amount of you give them $10,000. I don't know what amount it is, right? You name the amount. You give them $1,000, you can do a meet and greet for a weekend or whatever. But it's obvious these dudes are on TRT and some sort of other performance enhancing drug because the amount of time they spend on the flat range spewing bullshit and then having that edited up is there's no way they could actually be a legitimate bodybuilder. And what Focus is showing you here, what I'm most curious on is their CQB course, because that's going to lead us into another segue here. I wonder if during their CQB course, they encourage you to run around the shoot house with the weapon on fire and your finger already on the trigger.
Ooh, yeah, that's a fun one. I'm trying to find their courses here.
Because according to what I've seen on the publicly accessible YouTube GBRS page, you can watch them enter and clear rooms that they've staged. This is all for cinematography. In their finger, okay, that that thing that they're trying to find their natural point of aim with, they're putting it so far on the trigger with the weapon on semi as they're muzzling their buddies. It's awesome, dude. It's freaking awesome. It's good training. I think that you guys should all get training from Goober's Group and support them in their venture. They'll definitely not get you killed in the sheets.
Well, CQB, as we all know, is the #1 most fundamental, important skill when it comes to shooting.
Brother.
And I think it's also what you should pay like $1,200 for as your first class. I
And
think that would be extremely useful.
definitely from a group of guys that don't know how to manipulate an AK. That's another point we're going to talk about here in a minute. Don't use dump pouches. Tell you to just take the optic off your weapon and shoot at paper. Anyway, moving down. The Hydra mount conspiracy theory. Okay. So.
Oh my gosh, $1,300 for a pistol and rifle course. Oh,
how many days? How many days? How many rounds?
It's a 2-day. I mean, I can look at it. They're all sold out, of course. The knowledge transfers as they are. That is quite expensive. Let's see. Required equipment. 1,200 rounds, 1,000 rounds. That's quite a bit. Quite a bit.
One thing you have to consider, just not to cut you off, and I'm hyped up on caffeine right now. So one thing to consider for the guys in chat and guys that watch this at any point, and for everybody, student to instructor ratio. Student to instructor ratio. What we have to do, what we're supposed to do is a 1 to 10, right? When we're doing shooting instruction, 1 to 10. That will give at some point every 10-ish minutes, for 2 of those minutes or so, you're going to have an instructor talking to you and giving you feedback. Putting bullets through a PSA dagger on the flat range in 1,000-round increments will make you 0% better as a shooter, no matter if you spent $1,200 for the course. But having an instructor ratio, and you discussed this, Focus, on a recent trip I think you did with X-Ray Alpha and Ben, right? And you discussed a little bit of the you were getting at they were hands off and they let you shoot and they only addressed it when they needed to. That's good. But what you also want is more qualified instructors on platform. The more student to instructor ratio or instructor to student ratio that you can get, that is the type of courses you guys want to be attended. If they if they fill a course to 30 people and it's only 2 instructors, you, my friend, are not going to have any training value, basically, because you're going to hear what they're saying, but you could have heard that same information on a YouTube video, right? So I worry about Goober's Group, not just because their content is already trash and they're giving out bad stuff, which leads me to believe that their training is going to be bad in person, but their student to instructor ratio, because I've only really ever seen 2 to 3 guys like there, right, on camera. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on their instruction?
Well, so I haven't watched any of the GBRS stuff as far as like their training content goes, but I mean, just their shooting style and their standards seem extremely low. So it's not anything that would interest me. So, and there's different learning styles too, but I get what you're saying about the student to teacher ratio, because that's something that's also explored in schooling in general. In general, if you have fewer students per teacher, you come out with higher outcomes in general, right? There's obviously going to be differences in learning styles, in teaching applications, and it's going to be different for different people or whatnot. But yeah, so for me, like I prefer a little bit more hands-off diagnostics, right? Because like if somebody tried to tell me for an hour how to grip a handgun, I would be like, this is a waste of my time. Please stop doing this, right? But if I can shoot and transition and do different things, actually perform to my level, and they can be like, okay, well, here's what you can do to improve. You're obviously doing XYZ. You need to then go and then practice these things, right? So it's basically figuring out where you're falling apart. You push yourself, and then now we apply the fixes, right? That's the training style that I personally prefer. Now, there were some people in the chat calling you out for the 1,000 rounds on the flat range can't make you a better shooter or doesn't make you a better shooter. I think if you're very intentional with the way that you train,
with a shot timer, your phone is like a recording, or you can record yourself. Like I will learn modules for work by audio recording or video recording myself, or my dry fire too, and I'll record myself with the times, show it. Okay, why did that happen? If you're doing that, yes. But but you even,
well, that's what I say about being intentional with your training. Because if I sat there and just pulled off 1,000 rounds into the berm sideways, right, I gain nothing from that except some extra hearing damage. But it's about being intentional, like with a workout plan or whatnot. Sometimes you bring a notepad and you figure out, okay, what did I do for these drills and these times and these standards that I've set, and then you keep a note of that so you can improve next time, right? It's about being intentional with the time.
Or how did the pump feel at X point of work? Yeah. Sure. So yeah, I didn't mean to. What I was referring to is my burn down video. I'm getting zero training out of my burn down.
Yeah,
video.
Well, that was one thing while I was watching it. I'm like, you're just going like bang, 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 bang. You know, just back and forth for like, what is it, 20+ minutes at a time to get through 1,000 rounds.
Yeah, I got like 50 freaking Glock and Magpul mags, and all I'm learning from that is, wow, hand strength, and I can hit a C zone, 3 different C zones or a tree over and over and over with no time standard. So that's an example. Like my videos recently, just to test it for guys that want to know if a gun is actually going to work with a PSA dagger. That is zero. That's a good example of zero training, right? I'm like, my level of training has surpassed that point. So me shooting bullets through the gun, I would have been better off those 24-minute increments or whatever it is, literally dry firing at home. Like honestly.
Now, do you think for those videos, is it just out of curiosity, because we're going to talk about them in a minute, but do you think it's just a time constraint for you?
I am extremely.
Where you're just trying to get through it as fast as possible?
Yes. And you probably have my speech pattern kind of tells it how fast I talk sometimes. And then you and I is like dialogue. When we find a meme or a video or something that we want to joke about, we have very short, hilarious conversations, and then we break off for like 3 weeks, right? And then we come back together, because I work 12 to 14-hour days. My battle buddies and I, the drill sergeant leaders, we do shift work as much as we can, early and late or whatever, but we work very long days and we have to learn modules. It's not me complaining. It's an awesome job. But doing YouTube plus that job, plus that lifestyle is intense, right? So if I get very passionate sometimes about like Goober's group, it's because I'll be on my drive to work or drive home, and then I'll see like Goober's group, because I have the YouTube premium so I can play it and lock it. And I'll hear Goober say something crazy, or I'll hear Iraq veteran say something crazy about why PSA is good, or I'll hear any of these things, right? So I get so passionate. That's why kind of where this channel, my channel, came from, is I'm just like, I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to just put it out. And if someone can learn or avoid these people, then do it, right? And that's kind of where the Goobers thing and the AAC we're going to talk about here in a little bit comes from. And that's why I think, like we're talking about backstage, what you and Richard are doing on this channel, for the guys that don't like, this isn't gun content. Let me tell you right now, the content that guys gravitate towards that are in the know is not watching someone burn bullets through a gun. It's application of knowledge through that, right? So like Focus's channel, for example, giving an experience that he had burning the bullets, because guys don't watch shooting, guys want knowledge. Has that been your experience, Focus?
It's a little different sometimes, because I mean, usually what I try and do is a little bit of entertainment and then just information dump as fast as possible for the next 7 or 8 minutes or however long the video is. But yeah, so I think what we try and do here is you can cover different topics and have like actual conversations on a live stream, right? Sometimes you can just have fun and be a little silly. Sometimes you can call out bad actors, bad companies, bad products, right? Which we're going to be doing in the second half of this. And sometimes people say silly things and you can meme on them, right?
That's what
and people enjoy it. It's a group experience. We all hang out. The chat is usually quite wild, and they say all sorts of wacky stuff.
No, your chat is,
you hang out and have a good time.
Your chat is normally very base. From what I've seen, normally I'll be thinking, or guys will be, the audience will be thinking a thing, and then you'll pull up like a super chat, and it's just like, what is his name? Not Larry Vickers. Tarrant. Oh, he's also fat. But Tarrant Tactical is fat as fuck, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you just go through the instruction. Oh, they're fat. Oh, they're fat. Oh, they're fat. Of that.
Yes, I love that. So for guys in chat, fat shaming does work. One of my moderators on this is so far down the rabbit hole right now. One of my moderators was a little overweight. I'm not going to call him out his name, but he kind of asked me, or he was bragging about being on a diet, and I kind of cornered him a little bit. And it turns out he wasn't on a diet. He wasn't in deficit. He wasn't doing the things he was supposed to be doing. Fat shaming for men, fat shaming for males does work to a certain extent, right?
Social shame was a tool for thousands of years,
like
literally thousands of years.
If Focus hit me up one day, he's like, "Hey man, what's going on at work?" I would be like, "All right, I'm now going to go kill myself and jump off the nearest roof and never eat food other than a protein supplement again," right? But
I'm always tempted to like pick the worst picture possible for the thumbnail as I'm going through. And there are some pictures where like people are like looking down, so it makes them look like really fat, and just blow that up on the thumbnails. But usually I don't do that.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Anyway, yes, Tarrant Tactical's fat. Yes, he's a creep. And let's move on to, okay, a couple things to just note, just to put in chat's brains. SIG. Anytime someone's sponsored by SIG, that's a problem. Goobers is sponsored by SIG, allegedly. Goobers is sponsored by SIG because they're always using SIG products. They also get some very suspicious things that show up to the range that they use once. That's a bad product. Capitalism's a thing.
I have also seen that where like they'll do a review where it's like they open up the box, they shoot like maybe a couple boxes through it, post a video.
4 magazines.
Never seen again. Never. Right.
The Century Arms. I saw M26 is here. M26 lemon grenade. You should take personal offense when Goober's Group tries to review a Century Arms AK and they don't know how to put the magazine in the gun, or they don't know that there's a new thing called an enhanced safety, so you can take the safety off the AK. It was wild. My chat, Discord, my Discord channel went crazy with that video because it was a good laugh, right? So
I haven't seen that. I'll have to watch their AK video.
It's so bad. I don't know if it's still up. It was so bad. It was literally, if I say widowy, like I'm a 5-year-old autistic kid, it's because it's an inside joke at work. But widowy is the worst video. It's one of the worst, right? So they're sponsored by
Century Arms video.
What is it? Yeah, Century Arms. Yep.
I got it right here.
It's so bad.
Somebody posted the top comment on that video is, "No one has a friend at Century. They have a service rep." That's funny.
Yeah, it's so bad. So their Hydra mount came out at the same time that DJ Shipley had his face reveal and started going all crazy and started becoming a big thing. And now all of a sudden, boom, Hydra mount came out. That's a meme in and of itself. If you own a Hydra mount or you use it and you're not using a full auto MP7 with a PEC 15 and an aim point, if that's, oh my God, that's so high.
It's not high enough.
Yeah, if you're not using
it's only 2.9 inches, not including your height over bore, which I think puts it just over 4, just under 4, something like that.
I can't grab my rifle here because we'll get immediately just nuked out of freaking orbit. But my man's face, if he was supposed to be down here, he's like intentionally looking.
Do we have to go over this? So, okay, gentlemen, look, we raised the optic up an insane degree, right? So that we can add a cheek riser to our stock. Also, the genius thing here is, guess what? With that super tall mount, you lift the stock out of your shoulder in the back. Fantastic. So it's just barely touching. Can you show me another picture of this? Ugh, never mind. I lied. Don't show me another picture.
Dude, a good way to know if a channel is bait. Oh God, what is happening?
Well, see, that's the thing. I know you can shoot properly. Like he's got the stock in his shoulder and he's got his face on the stock.
No.
So, I mean,
that is the Draco or whatever video.
Brother.
Arms, not Draco,
but
Century Arms video that he doesn't know what he's talking about in.
Dude, at this height, you are literally aiming at the top of the target to hit the head box.
Height over bore is crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Chat, you might want to learn your height over bore holds with your home defense, whatever you're using for home defense, because that's what you're going to actually probably use your gun for, or a personal defense scenario out at Walmart. So make sure you know your height over bore for real, because you try to shoot them in the face and you hit them in the throat, and they're going to have a couple more rounds to get off on you. Anyway, Okay,
I
so
take the Clint Smith approach. Shoot him in the dick.
that will work for moral artery is a hell of a drug. Okay, so the
Not a
Hydra
bad
mount.
way to go.
Yeah, the Hydra mount is the joke. The SIG sponsorship and the Century Arms sponsorship, and there's one more. What was the night? There's the 2011 that came out from
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Wilson Combat with the Wilson Combat 2011 deal and the Century Arms and the SIG. So all guns that they've never tested or used. They get it sent to them. They say it's amazing. They put it on their hip. They use it for 15 minutes, and now they're horrible at shooting too, which is like you can tell they're not.
I would not call them horrible, but if
Okay,
you were
they're
going
bad.
to compare them, if you were going to compare them to any USPSA master, grandmaster, any IPSC guys, no, it's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah, they're not good. So I'm not trying to make personal attacks on them. I just want to be clear on that. But they're not good shooters. Okay, they were forced to do X drills whenever they were in the teams to prepare them for urban combat, right? My soldiers, when I was a platoon sergeant or weapon squad leader or rifle squad leader, they were not good shooters. They were okay shooters by civilian standards. I know that's crazy to say out loud, but by like modern prepared civilian standards, my infantrymen were pretty okay. You know what I mean? When I was training them, because most of them are not gun guys. We go to the gym, we go do PT, we come to the range, they're all hungover and stuff. We shoot all day. They complain about being there. A lot of guys in chat would be happier to be there than my soldiers were. You guys kind of know what I mean? Like they're getting paid for indentured servitude, and I don't represent the Department of Defense, to be clear, but they're getting paid for an indentured servitude to shoot bullets because they're forced to shoot bullets, not because they want to shoot bullets.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I was noticing with a lot of the drills that they were doing. Like the times were really like, and I'm not even a fantastic level shooter, right? But we're talking like 1R1s north of 3 seconds at like 3 yards, right? And it's just like stuff that I could have done like within a year of shooting, right? And these are like, now keep in mind that for us retards online, I don't sell training. I should not sell training because I'm not good enough to train you. Okay. These guys sell classes for $1,300, right? So slight difference.
Yeah, full disclosure. I tried to talk Focus into doing something with training, Logan, and he wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely not. How they're that slow is when you have a 6-inch riser, right? And the gun's way down here. You can't move your neck. That's part of the thing. So you have to like reach over, grab your mag, look at your gun, insert, and then go back and then find the dot that is waving way above the gun, because it's a skyscraper, right? So it's literally waving back and forth. You follow that around, find it, put it on the target, and then pull the trigger in roughly 4.5 seconds.
Imagine the recoil. So you fire the first round. So you find the dot. Boom. You know how you found the dot? Not with natural point of aim, with gun target line. Boom. Dunk. You find the dot. You fire. You forget your height over bore. The dot disappears for 22 seconds because you've got a 15-inch riser on your gun. But then you find it again, and guess what happens? You forgot your height over bore again. You're dead.
So this is something that I just thought was a little funny. Just the stock placement, like barely. This is actually the Hydra mount on a MP7. The stock placement not being in your shoulder means that this thing is actually going to recoil way more than it should. This is just something I noticed when I clicked on their page. Right, you see how it kind of like walks up like a lot? Like it really should. It's 4.6 by 30 or whatever it is. It really shouldn't be doing that.
Hold on though. The dot is lined up with his forehead.
Oh, he's not even aiming. He's not even aiming.
No, he might have been. I don't know.
So he might have found a reference point and then ripped it, right? He might have found a good reference and tried to rip it, which was what you do with doubles.
It does jump up a lot. It jumps up a lot, like out of his vision almost instantly, right?
Right. And to play devil's advocate, with doubles, you will find a good reference and rip.
Shoot predictably. But this is, it's a lot. But the point is that this little 4.6 does jump out like quite a bit, like above his line of sight. So he doesn't see like half those last 5. But just something I noticed.
Wow. Okay.
That.
Yeah, that was
all right.
cool.
You guys ready for the last 4 of these? Then we can get into PSA.
Let's do it.
All right. So reloads with retention. So my big thing with that is they're assuming guys are in SEAL Team 6, so they have the funding. So they're telling guys not to retain magazines. In many of their videos, they're saying, "Oh, just dump that old mag out." Okay, so when I was a reconnaissance assistant team leader, when you get to the LOA, the limited of advance, when you have your excess magazines, you'll always have about 60 rounds excess, right, in the actual stripper clips, not in the magazine, right, for space purposes. So you'll have 60 rounds. When you're at the limit of advance, your buddy will cover and you'll top off mags. That is a military application for topping off magazines. For the average dude watching this, that's like, hey, I work at Home Depot. Why do I need to retain my magazines? Because when you shoot that dude that broke into your house 12 times and you want to put the next 15 round magazine in the gun, that extra couple of rounds is going to be huge, especially when that other guy shoots you a few times and you're going to get in this. Okay, obviously more bullets, more better, right? But you need to retain any magazine you ever can if it's not a immediate time to reload. So a reload with retention is a serious thing that you should consider, right? From what I've seen on their channel, and I have a video on this, they don't encourage or recommend reloads with retention. They call it a tactical reload, which is not a thing, right? We talked about that already. So that's a whole issue. Safety manipulation.
One question. I believe it was John Correa that stated that he has seen close to 4,000 engagements, self-defense engagements, right? And over all of the ones that he's reviewed, I think he said that he's seen one instance of a reload where it was necessary in a basic civilian defensive scenario.
Well,
Outside of law enforcement and stuff, he said it basically doesn't matter.
Right.
I say carry a second one regardless.
Well, right, but I think this applies a lot more to like military and police applications than it does
or LARPing if you're preparing for the end of the world, right? If you're preparing for
much more to that sort of thing than the classical like home defense situation, right? I mean,
Johnny's not going to worry about
rounds does not solve the problem. Something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, and he's not going to worry about keeping that mag in at 2 a.m. when he's standing there in his underwear. You know what I mean?
Right. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about most guys in chat and post this, and I'll just ask guys in chat. If you're still at the home defense level, be honest. I'm still preparing for home defense. Most guys in chat have their 12.5 suppressed with an aim point and a surefire and a sling. Hopefully an adjustable one like from T-Rex Arms or something actually good. And that thing is loaded up with 77 OTM and they're ready to smoke. They're hoping. They're not hoping for legal purposes. For legal purposes, they're not hoping it. But they even have their battle belt hanging next to their bed so they can grab the rifle, throw in the battle belt. Their gun goes cold. Guess what? They're going straight to that Glock 17, right? So most guys in chat get it. Your chat is very base. Like I know I said that twice, I think now. Your chat generally is like, oh, no, I already have my rifle. As a matter of fact, I have a 20-inch just in case because I want to build.
Well, actually, that was one of the comments was somebody just said, yeah, 20-inch A4 daddy.
Dude, I have a video. The only thing that PSA ever has made good on my channel is a Saber. We're going to get into that in a little bit. A Saber 20-inch with an FM barrel that I took their bolt carrier group out, threw it in the trash. I didn't actually throw it in the trash. I used it as a training bolt. And I put a BCM bolt carrier group in, and that thing is freaking smoking. Anyway, moving on. Safety manipulation. They actively encourage not manipulating the safety properly. They say they actively encourage having their finger on the trigger and entering rooms. They have video of them doing that. And on their AK video, they're saying just leave the safety off. And they don't know how to, they don't understand the AK. So they don't understand basic things that they're trying to educate other people on about loosening the safety or tightening the safety. And, just to share some of my pedigree, I've been training people that have used AKs for many, many years now in other countries around the world. And it's very simple. As long as you don't as long as you don't pull it to such an extent that you lose the fire control unit, the trigger mechanism that is secured by the safety. M26, if you're still in chat, you'll be able to share. But basically, from my understanding and my using it, as long as you don't go crazy, that safety has a pin that holds everything together. Holds the whole trigger mechanism and everything together, but you can pull that out allegedly and loosen that safety. Goober is doing doing a review video on a Century Arms product and not knowing how to manipulate the safety or loosen a safety. That should raise a red flag for a lot of you guys, right?
I think safety manipulation is just one of the very basic things that I don't get it. I don't get the discussion. Like if you're not actively engaging a target, just put it on. Like it's as Hop would say, a no cost option. Because it
M26,
doesn't.
right? M26 has a video, and I have a video myself on target, weapon on fire, bang bang, reassess, weapon on safe, down. That is widowy what we train to this day, right? You kill when you need to. You're unsafe when you don't need to. Guess what's going to happen? Sergeant Focus Trip or Sergeant Richard is going to get excited after I just smoked this dude. I'm going to put the gun on safe, but guess what you're going to do? You're going to think that you need to get to your next point of domination, and guess what just happened? I flagged your pelvic region with my 5.56 OTM or M855 Alpha 1 as you crossed in front of my line of sight, and had I ripped one right through you, you would have been bled out within 30 seconds, right? If that ripped through your freaking pelvic, you know. So having the gun on safe is a serious problem. I think X-Ray Alpha even said, like, put the freaking rifle on safe, you idiots. Like, guys in chat, a lot of times in a lot of channels' videos will be like, I keep my gun on fire at all times. It's wild.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. So M26 says Dirty 34 has, I think it means Delta 34, has blooper reel of dudes falling on the range while moving target to target. Put the weapon on safe. Well, yeah. Also, Micah Mayfield, he was at Finished Brutality like yesterday, and you know it's like muddy and just horrible, icy, whatnot out, and he did a backflip basically out there with a rifle in his hands. Right, just put the rifle on safe. Right. It's not. It doesn't cost anything to do it. Just do it. It's simple.
AK competition shooters are some of the biggest issue with this, because what they'll do, shooter ready, stand by, beep, safety off, fire, fire. Guess what they start to do next? They leave it on fire and they begin to move with that gun on fire. That trigger.
Well, there are other things in a like a US PSA style match where you can't break the 180 and things like that. That should, in theory, protect other people.
I saw 2 NDs in my last US PSA match. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Well, that's a whole nother topic, but they didn't get DQ'd. It's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But
really?
AK shooters, yeah, AK shooters out there, you need to train how you fight. If you don't have an active target, guns on safe, move, gun on fire, fire, right? That's how it works, okay? Yep. So for all the AK competitive shooters out there that are doing it wrong, what I look at is if I
can't train how they fight, though. It's not legal to shoot drunk off vodka.
That's true.
You can't do that. You can't come to the range with a bottle of vodka and a balaclava. You can't do it. I tried.
That's true. That's a factual statement.
All right. Before we are we done with the Goobers group?
I just got 3 more, and I'll just rip them off. I'll rip them off, and then we'll go. AK video, trash. We already talked about it. Doesn't blink. He says he doesn't blink while he shoots. That's stupid. He has a whole video. He has a whole video on his channel saying he doesn't blink while he shoots. That's stupid, right? Everyone blinks. He says he's saving his blinks for situational awareness. That's an actual video on his channel. He says he doesn't blink, and he says non. Oh, sorry.
The 20 milliseconds you lose out by blinking or whatnot.
I lost situational awareness. So the same amount of situational awareness you lose.
Make a supercut video of him blinking, just like they do the breathing videos.
Yeah, just blinking. That would actually.
That's a whole video that he has. And then non-dominant shoulder. He's talking about, okay, I'm gonna approach a corner, and this is like super old school. This is like 2013, 2014. Okay, I'm approaching a corner. I need to go for my left side. Forward, switch, and now I'm firing with my left side. That is super outdated. He's still encouraging guys fire from a non-dominant position with their non-dominant hand on the fire control unit and their dominant hand on the foregrip. That is outdated FUD lore. You do not ever, even if, okay, let's say this is the area of cover. If I'm going to fire from that point, I will switch shoulders with my dominant hand. I will engage with my dominant hand with my non-dominant shoulder. And then when I'm done, I'll just switch back.
Right. So that's something that I don't practice at all. But yeah, the simple shoulder bump rather than the full on double hand transition.
It happens. Like you'll learn. Like, okay, I don't want to just be out here in the open with my whole body, but you cannot do this with your non-dominant hand because you don't train that way, and your brain doesn't work that way. You can't squeeze the trigger effectively with your non-dominant hand. Go shoot a handgun with your non-dominant hand. So what we train now is simply, okay, I need to cover you, and we're accurate precision point target fire or machine gun fire from an enemy position. Up, over, in, weapon on fire, fire, just like that. Like that's exactly what we do, man. You cannot actively do one of these numbers, and now you're trying to engage with your non-dominant hand. What is it called? Where everyone wants to be a part of the party, so everyone squeezes on your hand trying to fire. Fear of missing out. You pull the trigger with your left.
Everything moves. Yeah.
Yeah, everything moves, and you're not used to it, so you're trying to engage with your non-dominant hand, and this is what it happens for most shooters, right? You're just doing this weird thing. If you don't trust me, go to the range and shoot some bullets, and you'll learn it right now. All right.
Yeah, you lose a lot. You lose a lot of performance, even if you train it a lot. You lose a lot.
You're not going to kill the enemy. You're not going to kill the enemy.
And again, this is all like tactical stuff that you learn in CQB classes that you pay $2,000 to go to.
And like I said, your audience gets it, man. They know they're past the home defense area. They're in the prepared Minuteman or WROL, SHTF type of thing, and they're
WROL. That's right.
Yeah, they're roasted motherfuckers like goobers and PSA fanboys. Hopefully, right now, I have this up to read it, but I haven't been able to.
What? Yeah, one funny comment on here. There was a pay the sucker says, "How does bro look 10 and 35 at the same time?"
I'm tired, boss.
I thought that was funny, man. All right, let's I don't know why you guys love this topic so much, but there were a insane amount of super chats that we should get to before we talk about PSA. So there's kind of a clean break in there. All right, we got a lot. Logan,
yep.
Go for it.
So I was gonna say I talk a lot, chat, and you guys, if you ever need to be like, shut up, dude, just say it. Like, I'm serious.
There's some hate super chats in here, so this will be fun. Logan sucks at shooting for $10 says, "Kilt into streets if you aren't a goober." That's right. For the low price of $2,000. Mitchell Black for $4.99 says, "Dad, I have a confession to make. I'm a PSA fanboy." You know, honestly, that was a little worse than if you were gay.
I have so many bullets through PSA products recently, and you're not going to be happy near the end. It's going to be a happy journey, and then boom, you're going to be so upset.
Well, he didn't say what he's doing with that bull barrel, so.
Oof. Bull barrel gives a whole new meaning to that. Anyways, no one you know of for $5 says, "Good evening, gentlemen." And Richard, thank you very much. No one you know of. Andrew Pashon for $20 says that GBRS is a stupid company. I say this as a guy who met DJ at a SIG event, that's funny, and owns a Hydra mount. It is on my MPX because the rail doesn't hold zero. Bad design by SIG, fixed by a stupid design by GBRS. Yeah, that's the only mounts, or the only time you would use a Hydra mount is, anything that you just are super limited on rail space, and that's like your only option to get a laser and an optic on your rail.
MP9, maybe an MP7, MP9. What is that? TP9, maybe an MP5.
Yeah, the GHM9, the new PSA X9 or whatever. That
doesn't work, right?
Yeah, well, allegedly. It's probably not going to work.
I mean, with your Mark 18, guys, I know this isn't a training video tonight, but you should always min-max every time you can. For a 12.5 or whatever, or 10.3-inch rifle, you do not need a Hydra mount. Seriously, you do not need it. Don't waste your money. I know we're going to be joking around a lot tonight, but seriously, guys, do not waste your money. Even if you're running a laser ME module, you can run that thing as far forward as you need to, and it's better, honestly, than doing one of these weird pressure switch game thing. So
I did see somebody who had like a full 15 or 16-inch rifle with a suppressor on it with the Hydra mount, and it was like a really high quality setup, and I was like, why wouldn't you just use the rail,
dude?
Anyways, Mace fell out the window for $5 says, "I'm gonna go fire one-handed because Focus told me so. Wish me luck, guys." Well, good luck, and it has to be 1,000 rounds, and I need you to report your performance increases afterwards.
Make sure you record it, say natural point of aim, and reference Travis Haley and DJ Shipley. You do all that, you're a freaking gun tuber, dude, and now you're famous.
Yeah. Start out with your eyes closed. That's the most important drill. That's how I warm up shooting as well. Just close my eyes and send it. No one you know of for $2 says acceptable with the proper pedigree. Exactly. Andrew Vachon, he referred to the Ben Stoger versus Ben Steger.
That's a good
Haley podcast.
So that stream, this video this might go longer than we wanted to, but that stream that he's referring to is actually a good example of people that are not just trainers, as X-Ray Alpha would say. They're actual either an entertainer or a trainer, because you get someone like Ben in a room with somebody like Travis Haley, and you can tell that Travis killed a bunch of people got really famous, and then fell off because he.
Dude, I want to have Travis on a live stream because I want to
We
talk to
would
him.
kill him
I want to
verbally.
talk to him. Well, I just want to talk to him about like all of his training methodology and like his 3-day pistol class, where the first day is classroom and biometrics.
Dude.
Right? And that I want to talk to him about that. I think that would be fun. I just want to know. I just want to know. That's all. Andrew Bashan for $4.99 says Ben Stager to Travis Haley. I didn't realize being a doctor can be sexually transmitted. Yeah, talking about having sex with his wife. So
that's a real comment. That's a real thing that happened, and then he doubled down on it. It's so good.
It's a wild conversation, guys.
Wait,
He looked
what did I
92
miss?
for $2.
So Travis Haley live stream with Ben Stager. Ben Stager dunks on Travis, and Travis doubles down. It's hilarious, and he gets Travis gets kind of defensive. I remember correctly. It's been a long time, but Travis gets kind of defensive because we're talking about his wife now. You don't mess with people's family, right? But Travis brought it up, and Travis said that her occupation, and Ben roasted his ass. So fuck you.
Yeah, well, it's because Travis, I think at one point was like, "Yeah, my wife's a doctor," and then of course. But that's not the point, right?
Yeah.
And so then Ben's like, well, I didn't realize being a doctor could be sexually transmitted, right? This is like if you have sex with a doctor, you're not a doctor, right?
I missed all of that. I thought that Ben had relations with Travis's wife in the past, and he was bringing it up in his face.
No, that's different. No.
Okay, never mind.
Anyways, Helix92 for $2 says, can we watch the Goobers Shill Sentry AKs vid? That would be fun. That would be fun. Not tonight though. That would go. That'd be an hour all by itself. No one you know for $2 says I'm 42 and on TRT. Slightly offended, Trench.
Well,
there is no problem. Yeah, there is no problem with TRT or even full-on steroid stacks. If that's what you want to do and you're open about it, that's cool, right?
And if you're past 35, so males past 35, you actually most men past the 35 years old, they actually lose a ton of testosterone production in their body. So at 35 or 34 years old, you need to go get checked out to make sure your T levels are good. And if you're getting to the point where you're not having naturally producing testosterone, you should take a testosterone if your doctor or whoever the hell, or if you get a test done yourself. But yeah, if you're in this chat and you're over the age of 35, you need to go get your T levels checked and get it checked at a normal time of the day. They'll tell you all these things, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Ideally get it checked like twice a month apart.
Yeah. Take testosterone, guys, and make sure you cycle off proper. This is a whole deal, but make sure
don't just tell people to get on test. Don't be like, hey, get on test right now, guys.
No, don't do that. But if you need to do it, if you know you need to, or if you're trying to do something right to get your T levels back to normal, but make sure you cycle off properly if you get on it, whatever. I have a ton of soldiers and a ton of buddies allegedly that have done it improperly, and I've had to tell them verbally that they're stupid, right?
Just a funny comment from Cold Brew says testosterone takes 250 milligrams of Tim Kennedy. That's good. That's good. The Tap Rack Stovepipe for $10 says, I was a Navy marksman, team rifle, and pistol shooter. Dump pouches are not allowed in our contests due to how often they get caught in the P-way bulkheads. I watched a guy faceplant steel because of it, lol. Well, that is a good application to not have a dump pouch in that. But that's a very specific application. Right. And that's again, it should be up to each person. Josh for $5. Richard, Bad AF, my favorite e-girl. Also, shout out Green Beans. Shout out Green Beans. Thank you, Josh, for the $5. Firearms and Fitness for $4.99 says, don't know much about GBRS. Trench, though, has great videos on small unit tactics for those who need a place to start. Yeah, a lot of the compliments that I see of your content is that those original videos that kind of did well for you, the small unit tactics stuff. I get a lot of people complimenting you on those.
So the reason I stopped making those is for my own mental health, because I teach it at work. So when I get off work, I don't want to do what I did at work all day during a video. So then I have to edit the video, and now I'm getting comments on the video, and I have to engage. You guys get it, right? It's too much. You're teaching at work. You teach small unit tactics at work all day, and then you get home after 12 to 14-hour days. You record. No. So I have a ton of videos on a ton of infantry tactics out there for Minutemen. If you guys want to go learn, you have to scroll back or go to the infantry tactics playlist. A ton of stuff out there. However, I can't, for my own sanity, I can't do a thing, talk about a thing, record a thing, etc.
Right.
It's too much.
It's a lot of work to go over it again. Mitchell Black for $4.99 says, "Thank you, Trench, for providing smaller channels with your bad takes so they can break it down and get more views."
Good.
I'm in this photo and I don't
You
like
do
it.
what you need to do, my man.
Battle Rifles for $1.99 says, "Seeking out and committing on drama lacks integrity." Did you mean commenting or committing? Like committing?
Remember
to
that
the
whole
drama?
high opinion, low commitment when you can't even fact check and spell check your own comment? Just saying.
Andrew Vachon for $1.99 say, "Anyone remember the Mike Glover and GBRS CQB vid? What, they have a video together, dude?
It's
That's
this.
amazing."
This is all.
Oh,
the
is that the retracting video? Oh, that's the one.
They're like, hey,
Yeah.
turn your PEC 15 on immediately. Go in the door and just do this, and you'll kill.
Well,
everything.
did you see there was a recent release video, IDF soldiers in Lebanon clearing a house, and they were like clearing it with like all the red lasers just on the entire time, just shooting into the dark, basically, like no white light, just shooting into dark places just randomly, right?
Here's the thing: it's a two-way. That's a two-way device, right?
Well, yeah, but it's just watching other countries, quote unquote tactics or whatnot. I just thought it was interesting, right?
Their rules of engagement. You got to think their rules of engagement for the IDF. I don't represent the Department of Defense or the United States Army in any way, but their rules of engagement may or may not have started here where they invaded Gaza and gone way. They lost so many people. Now they're just canoeing people to canoe people. Allegedly. So, yeah, they might just be pre-firing. They're doing one of these, bang, 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 and pre-firing every corner, right? So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're
tossing
literally
grenades
doing
in any window.
so guys, realize that they have to live with that forever. I know now we're going down a deep rabbit hole. If you
Yeah.
kill a kid with an M67 hand grenade, so like you kill a kid, you kill a family, you kill a dad holding his child.
Well,
with
is
a
it
hand
not
grenade.
to
They're
not
gonna live
to
with that.
yeah, not to jump into another tactic, but isn't that what what's his face Tim Kennedy lied about doing with a grenade?
50 grenades in a backpack. Think about that though.
Well,
not to
he
get deep, but
I wasn't gonna say it.
he claimed to have like killed a family with one of those grenades, right? When he goes, he throws it into the room with the PKM or whatever's in there, and then he goes in there and there's a bunch of like dead family members around, right? Isn't that what he claims in his book? But that was not true. So he claimed. I'm pretty sure that was a thing.
You should be in Leavenworth, first of all, but right, based on the rules of engagement, unless they were told to leave and the rules of engagement were lifted because the area, whatever, right? But long story short, Leavenworth
That's
is
assuming he's telling the truth.
Well, right. That's the thing is he was lying about the whole thing though. So it's weird to admit to a war crime that you did not commit.
Yeah.
I think he's just main character syndrome, man, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
Seriously.
100%. Brian Winters for $4.99 says, "I am too poor for anything but PSA. The same breath shows their suppressor, Taurus, Radical AR they bought that year, all with Viz lasers." Yeah, you're going to see that a lot too. It's like, well, PSA is the only thing I can afford. Therefore, I have 12 of them. It's like, well, you could have probably got something else for that much money.
That's the equivalent. That type of person saying that you can only afford a PSA is the equivalent of saying I'm going to cheat on my diet, so I ate 2 pizzas rather than a slice of pizza or 2 bites of pizza. Right? They're like, they don't understand. Like, I could just wait
very
30 more days and just buy a Glock or whatever gun they want. Right? Or Beretta M9 used at their local store, or M9 A1 used.
No, I was at my local gun store, and there was a Glock 19 Gen 3 or something like that, $349 used, right? Right?
Yeah, same thought process. I'm gonna go utilize the latrine while you keep reading these super.
Okay, yeah, perfect. We'll just blast through the rest of these. Firearm and Fitness for $4.99. Thank you very much. Says 1/3 of any commercial gym is on PEDs, and you would never know. Go taper the work in, diet, consistency, challenging workouts. 100%. Good advice. Yeah, there's a vast amount of people that look natural but are not. Brian Winters for $1.99 says, "Can we talk about the McCloy implement sometime?" I don't even know what that is. Richard, what is that?
I will look it up.
McCloy implement. Oh no. Oh, here we go. This is fantastic. Let me just share this real fast. This is what we all need right here. The canted red dot sight. So You know, that's fine. Well, I think that if it's for use with like gas
Don't say it.
masks, I've
Oh,
seen
okay.
I've seen some people running strange setups specifically for gas masks. So I'm not sure if that's exactly what this is for, or for like looping around an LPVO or something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't buy it, but maybe for some hyper specific application.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Tusk the Third for 199 says 1.3K for some gay selfies. Yeah.
It's a tax deductible business expense, though, if you're on Instagram and using it for content creation.
Mm-hmm.
What is more gay than watching 3 men talk to how many people are in chat?
650.
Not enough.
What is more gay than watching 3 men talk to 650 men while I read comments from those 650 men? That is men on men on men.
Yeah. Why do you have eyes to look at men's writings to you? That sounds pretty gay. Couch Warrior, while they throw money at you too. Couch Warrior for 499 says, Focus, can you just admit that 7.62 is the Chad's cartridge and the AK is the far superior platform? Thanks. Well, sir, my integrity is not on sale for $4.99. $9.99, however, and you might have me saying some crazy things. Jake for $4.99 says, I'm going to say it. Regular Army drill sergeant is not the pinnacle of performance or instruction. Need something other than that experience to lean on. Well, and I think that's something that maybe people get confused about when you say that. You give your experience so that people know what you've done, but it's not like I have done this, therefore everything I say is true and correct.
Right. I instruct.
So
to right now, I am a current and qualified instructor, what we refer to as on platform. So everything I can tell you is as of this minute is accurate to my knowledge because I'm assessed on that every day. If I say something wrong, I can get fired. Like that's the level to working at where I work at the academy. I'm not going to represent them or what I do, right? This is just me off work representing Trench Grenade, right? But what I do, the reason I tell you guys my position and stuff like that and my experiences is to give you a frame of reference of what I have experienced. If I tell you the ACOG is the best thing in the world, but I don't tell you where I have been or where I have come from, you're just going to say, what's this dude on the internet telling me? But if I tell you where I have been, you're going to immediately knee jerk to, I don't care where you've been. You haven't deployed 1,000,000 times. So you, sir, I ask you 2 things. What is your resume? If you want to go there, because that's what these guys don't want to do. I say,
Sure.
hey, post. If me as Trench Grenade, the content creator, says, post your physique. Send me it sounds gay, right? Send me a picture of your, send me a picture. Just your
Send me a
body.
picture of you now, right now.
If I say post physique, what's
What
your
are you
resume?
Or post total. Post total.
But you see what I'm saying? And that's where things get lost in the comment section is guys will be like, you don't have enough pedigree or you're wrong. Then I'm like, hey man, I'm just telling you my experience. What is your experience? And they immediately like, well, I watched an Iraq vet video. I'm like, so you're an idiot. Okay, got it, right? So this is what I would tell you guys in chat. The reason why more guys don't do content creation, the guys that have been there and the guys that have done it, I'm not saying I'm that guy. I'm just saying the reason why more guys don't make content creation is because the internet ruins it. Guys don't have any dog in the fight. They have a high opinion, low commitment, hashtag X-ray alpha, and they go on the internet and they say things that they can't, they write checks they can't cash.
Can't cash, yeah.
And that is the problem. And I've battled with it myself. Like, am I going to keep making content or whatever? So when guys are like, we don't care about you and what you've done, it's like, but you do, because you watch videos from guys like Goober's Group and name Travis Haley and all these guys, right? People don't watch M26 lemon grenade videos because he, is the most stunning thing to look at in 2025. He's not.
You take that back, right?
He's
now.
not, unless that's what you're into, right? They watch his videos based on his pedigree. I'm just being honest, right? Based on his AK building and his pedigree. So when I
think his knowledge of the platform, right? That's what's relevant to his videos.
His knowledge, right? His brain. But guys get lost in that, and they see, oh, now we got some dude on the internet telling me his resume. It's like, you have to have a broad understanding. Okay, this guy is an infantryman, a drill sergeant. You are handsome, man, and I love you. And we've had good discussions, right? We've had good discussions. I enjoy his channel. I've actually encouraged him to keep making videos on his channel. I made a video about his channel because I like him. I like him as a person. I like his content. Anyway, Go subscribe to M26 Limit Grenade. I reference him a lot for a reason, right? To help him out as much as I can. But anyway, the reason why guys reference their resume if they don't have an ego is because they want to tell you, hey, I might be wrong, but this is what we did or this is what we do, right? Based on our job. So for me, it's easy. I'm just a knuckle dragger door kicker that's been doing this for a long time that jumps out of planes and teaches drill sergeant candidates how to act, right? That's me. That's me as the professional version of me. So if you hear me say, here's my resume, I don't care about myself, dude. I promise you I don't. But there you go. There, I'm done talking.
We are never going to get through this. So the PSA thing, total meme, never going to happen.
Okay.
None for $5 says, focus. This live reflects poorly on you. Trench charade, talking up his pedigree. That's funny that we just did that for like 10 minutes. While dogging actual tier 1 operators is so bad. Jealousy is a bad look. I would agree that jealousy is a bad look. But listen, memeing on people who say stupid things isn't jealousy, right? All sorts of really cool people do dumb things, and it's not jealous to be like, hey, that guy said something stupid, or like, hey, that company, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that they made a bad product, right? I don't care that they made $250 million last year in terms of PSA. They still put out some really bad products, right? It's not jealousy. It's just is what it is, homie. Logan sucks at shooting for $20 says, I got to head out. I'm being hailed to help with the raid. Well, good luck, and remember to keep your safety on until needed, or off until needed. I'll catch the rest of the stream on VOD. Thank you very much, Logan, and you have a wonderful night, and good luck in your raid.
Cheers,
Mitchell
brother.
Black for $4.99 says, I will extend an olive branch to Tren Rage Grenade and agree that the Saber line from PSA is excellent. Yeah, I like the part selection for the Saber line. I don't always trust their assembly. That's my problem with it.
Right.
Noob Actual says drops $1.99 and walks away. Doesn't say a damn thing. Man gay dude, or sorry, Freudian slip there. Man guy dude for $2 says, even doing Delta night raids kept my rifle on safe. Delta, the video game, I believe you mean. Delta Force, which was a early 2000s video game, like 2003. Okay. Grand Thumb's Conscience for $4.99 says, I always shoot with my eyes open. I never shoot blank. And I always look them in the eyes. All right, Garanthem's conscious. Nick for $5 says, I think the best barrel length for a do-it-all AR-15 is actually 12.5 inches with a suppressor, obviously. Discuss. It depends on where you live. It depends on what you're doing, you know.
A lot of guys would agree with you. That's a good velocity. Yeah, good velocity, suppressed, put a aim point, red dot, a magnifier, or ACOG, or whatever you want, dude. Well, not whatever you want. Don't put an LPVO. We can discuss that another time. But within reason, you know, put a good optic on there, and you'll probably be pretty happy with that setup, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a 12.5 will do everything that you want it to do for the most part. The only thing, like here out in South Dakota, if I step out that door, like I can see 1 mile, right? That's so maybe, maybe having a little bit longer barrel for me. Like, dude, right now, I don't even think I have a barrel in my gun closet under 14.5 inches right now.
If I was you, I'm not kidding. If I lived in Idaho, and the dream is to live in Idaho, Montana, or somewhere to just retire, right? But that's my dream. But to honestly, an ACOG RMR Surefire with a lens cap on it so I don't ND, and a 20-inch barrel FN Cold Hammer Forge would be, you know, what I would run, honestly. Yeah. With some 77 OTM, now you're hitting at 500, 600 all day. Not with good PID past about 500, but honestly, if that's your situation, dude, and you are in you were in Idaho or he's in Idaho, whoever.
No, I'm in South Dakota, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, if you have long sight lines around it, like where I live, it's flat, and half the year the cornfields are cut, so you can literally just see forever. So, you know,
easy target detection too, with an ACOG or something 4 times or higher. That's quality. Easy target detection. You see them moving, boom, 20-inch barrel. Smack, and you can have good adjustments quickly rather than that 12.5, dude. You're going to be you don't understand. You're going to be slinging rounds like high right, high left, and it's no change to hold. So you're going to have issues with a shorter barrel. Hey, there's a meme there somewhere.
Noob Actual for $4.99 says, is it stupid to use my front iron as a reference up close? No, I don't think it's dumb. I think that it depends on what you're doing, right? If your purpose is to just put 2 on target and move on to the next thing, like that's fine, right? If you have like a partial occluded target where you have like a very small A zone that you're trying to hit, that's probably pretty dumb because you're probably not going to have the level of precision that you need, right? So it depends. I wouldn't train doing that much, right? I don't think that benefit. I mean, again, it just depends on what you're doing.
Backplate. Yeah. If you're in a scenario like what a lot of these cops end up in, where the dude is, you can tell if they shaved today, you can tell, if they've been drinking, etc. Backplate, and then as you gain distance, find your, that's called index firing. That is not recommended. That is an emergency, like absolute emergency. Like you don't do it, obviously. But if you have to draw, and the only thing you can do is index to a backplate, finding a front sight post or finding the backplate of your gun. As you gain distance, you need to get a proper sight because now you don't know the scenario. But that's an emergency. Index firing is absolutely like, dude, you got guys that have killed people a ton that have said, I didn't see it with my sights. I just pointed the pointy thing at the guy and shot at them and they died. But try to avoid index firing training.
You don't want to train to that level, right? Where you're relying on luck and intuition. You want to train to an extremely high level, extremely fast, extremely precise, so that it's all background info, right? So that everything else just falls into place. That's my opinion.
According to Goober's, you don't need to be precise at CQB.
Speaking of everything falling into place, let's let the rest of these chats fall into place and let's get on to the PSA. I'm excited to PSA bash.
Garantham's Conscious for $4.99 says, why does this live stream look like an ad for hair pieces? It's because you got the shaved sides on, so when you're back far enough, it looks like you don't have anything on the sides at all.
Dude, I'm so used to hate. I'm so used to the hate at this point that I'm just like, shave the head.
Is what it is, yeah. Well, here's another one for you. Terribly Tactical for $2 says, having a Lisp grenade bashing chat at 8:30 CST. Hey, that's in 30 minutes. So if we go fast, you'll be able to tune into the trench grenade bashing session directly afterwards.
Dude, I'll be there. I won't actually be there. I'm going to sleep, but yeah.
Garantham's Conscious again says, Minuteman. That's what all my ladies call me. Thank you for the $4.99, sir. $4.99 from Tap Rack Stovepipe says, hot take, Britain and America caused Middle East problems by moving the Jews from Europe to there. Also, pre-firing corners is a good strategy. Well, no, yeah. The Middle East problems, like, listen, if you want to go back, it really started about 10,000 years ago. And it's never been fixed.
That comment got so progressively more spicy. As you were reading, I was like, this is normal. Oh, relocation of Jews. Oh, pre-firing around corners.
It's not that. No. The real problem started like 10,000 years ago. You can't blame America for the Middle East. The Middle East has always been bad, way before America.
America is hella based nowadays, in case you haven't read. And we're beating the shit out of Canadian hockey players. And
I saw that. I saw that yesterday. That was hilarious.
So my fiance is a hockey fan. And when that video came up, I was like, I'm not going to lie. My testosterone levels increased. Because I was like, yeah, dude, why are you booing the American national anthem? Like, we will runway bomb you into the Stone Age. Like, we will, Canada, if you're Canadian and watching this, we will liberate, we will colonize you. Don't. We will occupy and colonize you. Do not fuck with us.
I always try to remind Canadians that they do have oil. Try not to fuck around too much.
Dude, I cannot imagine. We would steamroll them into the freaking Stone Age. You're going to get me fired up here.
Okay, I won't.
All right, this guy, Brian Winters for $1.99 says, watch the McCloy video, Comedy Gold. I'm going to save that for later. So I am bookmarking that tab, and we will watch that at some point. So I want to save that, though, so I have it, so I won't lose it. McManus, 85, says, for $9.99, I only watch Focus Trip. Well, I genuinely appreciate that. However, you should widen your horizon, because there are lots of great creators out there that have way better and more varied information than I can put out. So I think that there's lots of good people on the platform to get info from, so...
Hey, but shameless plug. If you're watching this and you go subscribe to the Trench Grenade channel, I'll give you a hug and a kiss and a broken PSA dagger.
You're never going to get over the gay accusations now. You just said
okay.
Come check out your channel. I'm going to touch you if you come to my channel.
the Goobers fanboys, for guys that are still watching this, that means you're a real one. For the Goobers fanboys, I don't know if they have a private Discord or Reddit. Dude, they have been cancel culturing my channel like crazy. So seriously, I consider Focus and I at least acquaintances, right? At this point, probably friends.
Of course.
I consider us, pretty good as close as friends as we can be for never meeting in person. And I would say, seriously, guys, if you enjoy Focus Trip's channel, I try to do a similar integrity thing on my channel. So if you want to go follow or subscribe and be a member over there, then come on over. Seriously, like I would appreciate it because I'm getting cancel cultured by Goobers Group fanboys and PSA fanboys right now. And it is as a part-time job. You know what I'm talking about, right? As a part-time job to put X amount of hours into this and get basically negative return. It is a mental battle. Like I just bought a Ruger
100%.
RXM. Right, we're gonna get into it in a second, but if you want to support, all the help is greatly appreciated. Seriously, shameless promotion. I had to, but
Well, yeah, Trench's channel is linked in the description, and that is a good segue into Tatiana's eulogy. So let me go ahead and pull this one up real fast.
I got a smile on my face. Yes,
this was a whole saga. Well, actually, let's go back real fast. This was a whole saga of, I think you did 3 videos prior, every 1,000 rounds on this specific PSA. So why don't you go ahead and just walk us through what happened before, and then of course the death.
Right. So for guys that are not familiar with me, I know this is me talking a lot, but that's why you're here to hear us talk, right? So I've had issues with Palmetto State Armory in the past. Long story short, for a long time, I would say at least 6 to 8 months, I had PSA as an affiliate. So I would use them as an affiliate link. They were never a actual like sponsor. And as we were approaching these, okay. So just to give you guys some backstory, I've sold a lot of product and seen almost nothing in return from PSA. So this is going to be kind of a spicy thing for guys to hear. I'll just be honest here at this point. This might get me in trouble. I have no legal ties to them or anything. So they might be very upset by me telling them this. So if you're a content creator and you see this, this will help you along the lines you will not be taken advantage of. Be a pro. Okay, so I have inadvertently sold a lot of PSA product for them by the affiliate that I used to have with them, upwards of $80,000 or more, right? Easily. That's just the numbers that they report to me. I've only seen a few $1,000s, maybe $2,000 total, probably less from PSA from that affiliation, right? Long story short, they promised some guns to be tested and some ammo, and they backed out of the deal. They got super shady, and that's when I grew up in YouTube very quickly, to be honest with you guys. And that is why I don't like PSA. Not because of all the gun stuff you see, but because they're business dealings behind closed doors. Because they kind of screwed me over by promising guns and ammo to test unbiased, right? Openly, when we had affiliations with them, when I had affiliations with them, I had trashed the PSA dagger at the time, and they were an affiliate, right? I was very open and honest that the dagger sucked at that time. This is like over a year ago now. Mm-hmm. Bringing it up to modern day, and I know I'm talking a lot. I know runtime's going to be longer, but I want to give you guys lore and context, right? PSA is not a good company, in my opinion. Allegedly, don't sue me, please. I'm a poor infantryman in the Army. I will die if you sue me, so don't kill me. But allegedly speaking, they have not been good to me. They have not been good to a lot of content creators, right? So I wanted to give them a fair shake. I tested a PSA Saber on my channel that got to 3,500 rounds with no issues at all, no malfunctions. A rifle, 20-inch rifle, PSA Saber, no issues at all. And I was like, okay, they made a good thing finally. But I should know I replaced the bolt carrier group with the BCM bolt carrier group and the charging handle with a Radian Raptor charging handle, right? Okay, moving on to the PSA dagger test. I asked my community, and a community that you should be involved in. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do. I asked my community, do you want to see a PSA dagger burn down? Like an honest test from someone that is not in the business, has no sponsors. They said yes, okay? So I bought in Vintage Warfare. If you ever see this, you owe me money because you were a part of the bet, Vintage Warfare, and you owe me money because you never bought your dagger. But anyway, so I bought the dagger as I promised I would do, and I tested it in the most fair way that I could potentially think of. And Richard and Focus, please tell me if you don't think anything's fair, if you think I'm lying.
Well, so
Right.
let's go through the testing methodology. So essentially, you were just doing a video every 1,000 rounds. You were like, okay, we're putting a case of ammunition through this in a relatively short time frame, 25, 30 minutes.
AAC ammo.
And was it all AAC ammo, or was it
Except for the last, because I'm a broke E7 in the Army that has to pay for two things. I know I keep hitting on that, but it is a serious investment, right? The guns and the ammo and the magazines. You want a lot of magazines. One thing Iraq Vet ever did was have a ton of magazines for his his burn down series that Iraq Vet.
Yeah.
So he would always have a ton of magazines, right? I had to purchase a ton of Glock OEM mags. Seriously, I had to purchase like, you can see on the videos, I had to purchase like 40 mags and have a ton in standby, right? So I use AAC 124 grain standard pressure. Yeah, it's a ton of mags, and there's some even behind the camera too in a bag.
Yeah, there's more.
Yeah.
So I purchased all the way across.
Yeah, I purchased a ton of mags seriously for this video. So I used 124 grain AAC ammunition. I put on the two guns that I was going to test, a Tatiana, which is the gun in question, which is a dagger compact 15 round capacity. For YouTube purposes, it was only 1 round capacity, with a Streamlight TLR1 and a Holosun 507 comp. And the other gun I'm going to test is named Sabrina, the PSA Saber dagger. That is like their competition model with BDU Woodland camo, same thing, with a Streamlight X300 and a 507 comp, Holosun 507 comp on it. So essentially, I would go to the range. I would turn the camera on with two, if you can see in this actually, in the actual thing that Focus has up right now, in the background, I have my phone as well. So I would put as many camera angles as I could, because I know how PSA works. There it is right there, the backup camera. So PSA is going to say, if this gun passes or fails, regardless, PSA is going to say that I did something, right? That I did something to jeopardize it, whatever. So I was very honest. I would lubricate the gun. I would show it in the beginning of the series. I would show me lubricating the gun. The gun would be obviously lubricated from break free in the beginning of the video, and I would do 1,000 rounds as fat or as I guess not as fast. I wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't just sitting there just burning down every magazine. You do doubles on a target, do singles on a target. You were usually transitioning between, the 3 C-zone seals you have in front of you. So it wasn't as fast as possible, but that is fast, right? That's 1,000 rounds in 20 to 30 minutes roughly. So it's quick.
Again, the reason why it was filmed in the way it was is because of my time. Right? My time investment, your guys' time investment. I know you guys won't watch the video unless it's in a tight timeline. I know guys won't be interested. And I wanted to test the gun, give an honest test of the gun. And for every video, for every gun, next is the Ruger RXM that I'm going to be testing here that I just bought today. For every video on this series, I'm going to burn it down in the same exact way. Right? The same exact way, a stack of mags and go into it. Right? So I wanted guys, because so many of my Discord members that I care about, I do care about them, and people that I know in real life, like other drill sergeants, people that I know, my fiance's friends that may see this at some point, they buy guns based on what I put out, right? What I test. So I take it seriously. So I took the gun out, I Loctited all the stuff on, and went out and tested it, and it died at 4,000 rounds exactly. We can get into that right now, I guess. At 4,000 rounds exactly, I was showing the camera, my fiance, the gun, saying how good it did, and then boom, I looked down and the freaking. So first of all, there was a significant point of impact shift with the accuracy that we should note. 6 inches left easily at roughly 20 meters, right? 6 inches left at 20 meters. A significant point of impact shift, roughly 18 light primer strikes and 1 malfunction with a Glock OEM magazine, and another malfunction where the mag just fell out of the gun on the very first mag ever through the gun. The magazine, it was not me. I know Chad's going to be like, it was you. It was not me. The mag just fell out of the gun, right? And my argument to that for the guys that will say it was me is it would have happened multiple times if it was me, right, over the course of testing, because it would have been a user error.
What magazine was the first mag that dropped out?
It was a Magpul magazine. It just fell out of the gun, right? On camera, boom, boom, falls out. I told Nighthawk, my fiance, her code name, to, hey, include it and edit, like make it repeat itself to show like it was not me for real. And guys will be like, it was you. Who cares if it was me? But it was like, I'm not saying it was me or wasn't me because it's me, right? It's because the gun. So long story short, this is not long story short. This is a whole ass saga.
This is long story long.
Yes, the gun fails at 4,000 rounds because I look down and the slide release is no longer attached to the gun. The trigger pin, takedown pin, retaining pin is walking itself actively out of the gun when I look at it. And we were having the light primer strikes, and the front sight post was completely like willy-nilly wobbling all over the place. So at that point I decided this gun is dead. For the average guy that's going to shoot this gun is not reliable. And chat went freaking nuts. And that's where you can, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, so the main thing for me is not necessarily the pins walking out of the frame, because that is something that's been known about PSA's frames for a while. The daggers is that all of the pins tend to walk because just the machining tolerances aren't quite there, the polymer tolerances aren't quite there. So that's something that just happens. It's known that those are kind of low quality. Now, fortunately, that fix is pretty easy. The main bad thing for me is that there were also nearly 20 light primer strikes in that time. And now that's either an issue with AAC or with the PSA dagger. So whoever you blame in that
hard primer,
yeah, who cares, right? It's one of their fault.
And that's the thing, guys. So many, I'm already seeing it. I just looked over at my monitor and like, guys, okay. So many times on the internet, and Richard and Focus can say, you know, they agree, disagree. Guys claim to be, I'm your friend, I'm trying to be genuine. And so many times we're like, that guy is cringe now. I don't trust him more. I understand that reaction. What I'm trying to tell you, I don't make most of my videos get limited. It comes up as like a yellow check mark, right? Limited and no monetization. I get so little. The only money I really get from this is, hey, it's like almost e-money begging, is like, hey, can you guys help out with the ammo cause? And like literally posting my Venmo to my channel. Like, I know it sounds cringe. I hear the cringiness in my voice as I say this. I post my actual Patreon and my Venmo to like, hey, I just need help with the ammo. I'll buy the guns, I'll buy the mags, just help with the ammo, because that gets expensive, seriously, over these tests. And guys will be like, you're bought and paid for, or now you're not bought and paid for, you're a PSA hater. I was like, I'm okay.
Well, so that's a funny thing. So there were 3 previous videos, right? Of
it was running great, where I said it was running great.
Yeah. And so the PSA fanboys are very happy, right? Or just PSA enjoyers in general. Not saying that everybody that enjoys their PSA product is a fanboy or a diehard, you know, just loves everything that they do. But people are really enjoying it up until you have, you know, a stoppage failure, right? It's not, the gun didn't blow up, but it was done at that point, right?
It didn't sig.
Brother.
Yeah, it didn't sig on you.
And that's what I remember the moment. I remember the moment the gun, I noticed the gun was locking back on its own. Okay, I remember feeling it. It was locking back on its own. The slide was locking. And I remember looking at Nighthawk, my fiance, and going, I have a moral decision, right, on camera to make right now. I'm either going to say one of two things. Hey, the slide stop doesn't work, but we can continue testing, and just if it fires, it fires. Like, I've seen channels do that. If it fires, we'll keep running it. But then I was like, no, because if you have a catastrophic, you're shooting, get a stuck case, you have to lock it to the rear, get that case out of there, and load a new magazine. You know what I mean? So if you get a stuck casing and you're using a PSA dagger, and you know, if I don't know your name and you die with that gun in your hand, but you bought it because of a trench grenade video, that's a problem, right? So in that moment, I looked at the gun. I was like, nope, we're calling it. Boom. The gun is dead at this point. Because I claim the gun is dead, chat went insane. I'm serious. They went, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I saw it too. Even in this chat, everybody was saying, you know, it's all your fault and whatnot for that sort of thing. And it's a different standard. Like, I don't know. Look, I have problems with the gun and its performance, right? And if we even talk about the value performance, right, it costs the same as a used Glock. So I don't know why I wouldn't just buy a Glock. So even if it ran 5,000 rounds perfectly, it's like, do I have to trust PSA's quality control and their internal parts, which are almost certainly of lower quality, right? Because I mean, you've probably seen the frames have issues, the strikers sometimes snap on their own, right? All sorts of, your pins walk out or whatnot. So that the point of it failing where you need like a hammer to get it back in place and to take the gun apart to fix it. I mean, that is in some cases a range ending day, right?
But
So
it could be a life ending thing. You know what I mean?
Yes. So could the light primer strikes too.
And that's what I mean. When chat says, does gun, this is like the troll on the internet. Does gun fire? Gun not broke. And you have to take a step back. Okay, what kind of person is commenting that? If the gun fires, the gun is not broke. That's a troll, right? They're obviously, they can't be serious, because the gun that has a magazine release, a slide catch, sights on it, everything on there should work. If there's a component of the gun, it should be in place and work. So for guys to say, oh, you're not a trench, you're not a gunsmith, you can't just pop it back together in 20 minutes and be good. It's like you're missing the point of the whole series. The gun is dead in the terms of consumer buys gun, consumer shoots gun, consumer dies in the sheets, not the streets, the sheets, because the gun fails.
Well, I think I think people, when you use terms like that, like even with the GBRS thing, right? When you use the term, I think, negligence and dangerous, most people aren't going to see it that way, even if you can frame it that way. So like when you say gun dies, people are expecting a blow up, right? Not like, that's just normal, right? If I say, oh my gosh, this thing went turbo autism mode and disassembled live, and it's like, just like one little thing came loose, it's like, oh, that's not exactly what I signed up for with this.
Right.
So, but again, PSA is one of those fan bases where even if it did blow up, they would be like, it's bad ammo, bro. And then you could be like, well, it's AAC. And then they would be like, well, I don't believe
did that. They actually did that. You remember that?
Was it the one that went off on its own? Is that the one we're talking about?
Okay. So that guy, I believe it was the same guy. One of the videos had a PSA rifle blow up on him. They showed up in the comments section and was like, oh, that was clearly a 300 blackout cartridge that somebody slipped into your case of 5.56 and you didn't notice it. And then they partnered up with him and sent him a whole bunch of new PSA stuff. And of course, he immediately became a bit of a PSA shill boy for him. And it was awful. It was awful. And I think that was the guy who ended up shooting his other PSA until it was cooking off rounds, and he was just pointing them up into the sky. They were just it was awful.
That guy, that was a low IQ Darwin Award waiting to happen. That guy.
No, that's the average PSA owner.
I don't stand corrected. That is a redundant statement.
And that's kind of how
this is somebody who owns a PSA. That is the average PSA owner.
And that's kind of how this whole thing began. I was like, okay, I want to give them every fair opportunity. I want to lubricate the gun, clean the gun, show a AR video.
I gotta stop you right now, because this is it. This is the comment. Thank you, Morris Logan McNabb. He says, you abused the dagger and then got mad that it made it thousands of rounds past its maintenance schedule. What is the maintenance schedule of a Glock 19 Gen 3 clone?
I'll tell you, the magazine release spring at 5,000 rounds is recommended to be replaced. Minor springs at 5,000 rounds are recommended to be replaced. The next checkpoint is 7,000 rounds. Minor spring replacement. And the gun itself, like the major components, like the firing pin, the slide, the major components should run upwards of 20,000 rounds, right? You can ask any gun shop that does rentals. Ask Glock, ask any gun shop that does any rentals. They'll have a maintenance schedule. Minor springs do wear out, right? So you might be shooting, and you might have a light primer strike. Okay, now we have an issue, right?
This is something that people are talking about in chat. So it's 4,000 rounds is not abused. It's used.
And
intended.
And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. I was conceal carrying this gun, right? I'm being honest. I was conceal carrying this gun to make sure, like, I gave it every opportunity. I built, some experience with it, and I would have died if somehow I would have ended up in some sort of Miami-Dade shootout 1,000-round gunfight. I would have died at the 3,999th round when my gun. you know, my slide.
Well,
didn't
or
work.
the thing with that is it's just a ticking time bomb, right? So what if you had gone to the range, put 1,000 rounds through it, and then it fails on the very next mag, right? Which is the thing that I just don't like about PSA's quality control as a defensive firearm. I just don't, right? It always makes me nervous, right?
I'm
So
nervous.
hey,
Yeah.
it's a Mark 18-ish says, "Hey, Focus, what's the maintenance schedule on gas rings, and how far did that saber upper make it before the rings were shot out?" It made it less than 500 rounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the bolts on their the gas rings on their micro best bolts just die randomly at times, which is why you
I
swap
throw
it
them
out.
out.
Yeah.
BCM. I throw a BCM every rifle unless it's Daniel Defense grade or higher. I throw a BCM in there. And like, I'm serious. I will buy the $250, $350 BCM bolt carrier group, the whole thing. I'll take the old one out, use it as a WROL backup trash one, and I'll throw the BCM in there immediately.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Fig Newton says, for 1,000 rounds in a sitting is definitely hard use. That is a normal class schedule, is about 1,000 rounds. Somewhere
And
between
tell that to a
600 and
dude.
1,000 rounds. And again, so I was at a class that we did 700 rounds on the first day. There were 0 quality guns that went down. 0.
Yeah.
0.
Imagine seeing
not saying that
Glock
it won't
19,
happen, but
yeah. Imagine seeing Glock 19 or Beretta M9A4 go down after 1,000 rounds in a day. You would be like, holy cow, dude. Everyone would know, like, what the heck? Or it's the limit, right?
And it would also, usually it'll go down in 1,000 rounds, but because it was round 15,430 to round 16,430, whatever it happens to be, right? So all guns are consumable. They will all break. They are all wear components. They all need regular maintenance. Now, not regular maintenance like every day, right? But just at intervals. Lubrication is probably the most important thing that people forget and cause issues. So all guns will eventually break. We are just saying
over
that
lubrication is an issue.
Yeah, that too,
Well,
right? But all guns will break at some point. The point being is that we would rather our guns get into the danger zone much further away than sometime between the first round and the first 5,000, right? Which for people that shoot a lot, 5,000 rounds is not a lot. Right. This year I will shoot between 30 and 50,000 rounds. So I'd prefer my stuff not to break on me when I'm out shooting and trying to get video for stuff, right? Because that costs me a lot of money, right? Because I pay for all my own ammo. So yeah, like I get it. It's a lot of money to go out there and pull the trigger, and when it goes click no bang, it's not a good time.
So
I did today. One of my long-term Discord members sent me pictures of a Glock 19X recoil assembly broken. Sure, it came uncaptured. It was broken, and he asked me, "Hey man, I know you have a ton of experience with the Glock 19X, which I do. Is one of my favorite guns that I've fired, right, and owned ever. Glock 19X, like straight up, awesome gun. Longer frame, shorter barrel, less moving mast, right? Awesome gun." I was like, "Hey man, sometimes it was at 7,000, I believe." I was like, "Hey man, sometimes things just happen, right? Weird things just happen, but that's a fluke, that's not the rule. That's the exception."
Exactly.
So
what's the problem with over lubing?
Okay. Hydraulic fluid issues. So you will slow down the firing pin to the point where it's not hitting hard enough on the primer. So like a Glock pistol, for most guys, however many guys are in chat right now watching this, if they were to be like, Trench, how much should I lubricate my Glock? I would say under lubricate it. They'd be like, what do you mean? I'd be like, under lubricate your handgun or any gun, because over lubrication attracts sand, dirt, mud, whatever. It attracts that stuff, and also it will slow down the firing.
Yeah, well, as they're saying in the chat, so this is something that can happen, especially in a Glock, in the striker channel specifically. If you use like a heavy lube, like a grease style lube where it's very thick and gelatin, if you put that in the channel, you can actually slow it down to where you get like light primer strikes. So now, most other places you can over lube and it's going to be fine, but there are some areas that are actually
a machine gun, like a 240 Lima or MP4.
Well, like if I put a lot of lube just on the little 4 rails on the Glock, it's not going to do anything, right?
It will burn.
It's going to make a mess. It's going to make a mess, right? But it shouldn't stop the gun. But there are some places that are more sensitive to others to over lubrication. So for most people, it's not an issue, but there are some times where you can create an issue by adding too much.
So somebody
or different types.
Somebody who's training and actually has a training course that they offer would know not to over lubricate something?
Yes, if they're so training is obviously diluted to the point of anyone can have a course and anyone can be a instructor, and you're not a real instructor. You just are gonna wait to get roasted by my channel at some point when I get the bandwidth to find you. But yes, over lubrication is a serious problem, to the point where the only guns that should be lubricated heavily are open bolt machine guns. Open bolt machine guns. Okay. Your M4A1 clone, whatever AR-15 you're running at home, over lubrication is a problem. You're gonna get more carbon buildup. You're gonna get more sand and dirt that attracts to the gun and sticks to the gun. A moderate to light amount of lubrication is always going to be better than a heavy amount of lubrication, unless if you're in an Arctic environment, you want no lubrication unless you're using law. But that's a whole nother deal.
It is different, right? Because I was out here in 0 -1 degree temperatures the other day shooting, and yeah, it is different. So it also the type of lubrication, because this is a 2-hour conversation in and of itself, right?
I'm going to pee.
There are really lightweight lubrications and there are really heavyweight lubrications. Like I use a very thick gelatinous style lube on a lot of my stuff, and that's a little bit different than like spraying like WD-40, which is like a 0 weight, right? It's almost nothing. So that's going to have a very different effect if you're using like a very thick gelatinous, like grease like lube. All right. So what did you just send me in the chat, Richard? The John Lovell, how he oils a handgun?
Yeah, I wanted to see what you think about that as far as if that's properly lubed or not.
All right, let's see it.
I don't clean my guns very often. Frankly, they just don't need it. Like you don't clean your car engine very often. However, you
No, you do change your lubrication at like set schedules in your car, good sir.
certainly keep the car oiled. Same thing with guns. Make sure they have oil. So very first thing I do is I take them apart, and this is the kind of down dirty quick way that I'll do it.
Yes, it is a Shadow Systems, of course.
I'll move this recoil spring out of the way. I don't have a preference on oil, just something. And then the very first thing I do is I hit a few drops here so the rail is moving smooth.
That's fine.
Yeah. Normal.
Rule of thumb when you're oiling guns, anytime you see any wear spots on metal, wherever you see wear, that's what needs it. Barrel is another thing. I go ahead and drop them on the barrel right there. I go ahead and kick it up and move it around with my finger. On the lugs right there, feed ramp, just a drop is there and it's fine. In there, and I'll go ahead and hit right there a little bit. Back there.
What is he lubricating? I'm so sorry.
It's a Shadow Systems full-size handgun, it looks like. He's
hopefully he's not actively applying lubrication this entire time, or that is going to be way...
He is, well, so at first he starts out perfectly normal, right? Just lubricating the rails. And I was like, just a few drops, that's fine. And then he applied it all over the barrel and
the locking lugs and the back.
Oh, yes.
And
the barrel needs more assistance opening up after you just fire that 100 and whatever grain.
Right.
Yeah, run it back so Trench can see it. This was the bit. This was why I was
drop some on the barrel right there. I'll go ahead and kick it up and move it around with my finger. On the lugs right there, feed ramp, just a drop is there and it's fine. In there, and I'll go ahead and hit right there a little bit. Back there.
Okay, right there at the end.
Into the striker channel.
There. Yep, that's a problem.
So
that
good.
is exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
If you put lubrication in that striker channel in the rear of the gun, that's a danger zone. Seriously, that's a danger zone for your Glock or any Glock copy, whatever striker fire, MMP 2.0, M17, P320. You know what I'm saying. Any gun like that, if you get too much lubrication or any fluid at all in that striker channel, you are going to have light primer strikes, like a dude.
The comments had a field day with it too, because I was like, yeah, he needs that much oil because it's a Shadow Systems and he needs that much to keep it running.
No, I fell for the Shadow Systems thing, and I had major issues up front, and then I ran them to 12,000. I had major issues up front with light primer strikes, but I had them fix it, and now it's good. And yeah, you need to run it. dry,
good.
basically.
One of the comments on here is, how much oil? John, enough to tempt the U.S. into invasion.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen this video.
Oof, the
I think it was
Diddy
yesterday.
the Diddy baby oil. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I seen this video yesterday, and you were talking about oil and over oiling, and I thought that this might be a good thing to bring up.
I think I actually saw. So Warrior Poet Society. So there's certain channels that are like in line with cringe. So it begins with Such Double Lot, Koleon Noir, Goobers Group, Warrior Poet Society, Iraq Veteran. All these channels are the same level of outdated cringe, right? The good channels probably have anywhere like from like 40,000 to 100,000 subscribers nowadays, and you know.
Trench, you gotta say 38. You gotta say 38K. You just cut yourself out of being a good channel, man.
Oh, dude, I'm not even at the starting line with the PSA fanboys and the Goobers group haters. Dude, they are like attack. You guys don't understand. Go subscribe, please. Go subscribe.
No, I
please.
was reading your comments. It was very, very entertaining. As somebody who likes, that sort of fighting, I thought it was very fun to read the comments on there.
To the point where I actually hit up. Just to be honest, I hit up Focus like, "Hey, man, have you ever been like canceled because you shared an honest opinion?" Like, because guys
not to that level. Not to that level.
Yeah, it's wild, dude.
What is, just out of curiosity, what is the dislike ratio on that video?
I don't know. I'd have to pull it up. Let me pull it up for you. But
I
yeah,
bet that's gonna be fun.
While you guys watch me pull this up real quick, seriously, if you enjoy Focus stuff, go give me some love. Yeah, I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see content. Which video are we talking? We're talking the Goobers. Okay, it is 70%. 70%.
Wow, that's amazing. What about the PSA 4K video?
Oh, I'm used to that. That's 83, 91. Yeah, I'm used to that. The PSA. So here's the thing with PSA fanboys. I'll hurt their feelings, then I'll shoot another. Maybe I buy a jackal like an idiot. Maybe in 2 months I buy a jackal. Maybe I'll be a real idiot and buy one in 308. That's not gonna happen. But maybe I buy a 308 or a 5.56 jackal and prove Nothing Fancy wrong, because Nothing Fancy unfortunately showed his outdatedness and said the PSA jackal was actually good, and that was a problem for me. I took that personally, Nothing Fancy, and I'm gonna roast your ass right now. You should probably actually shoot the gun a little.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you had that on standby, because that gun is not good. And Nothing Fancy, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and if somehow the Nothing Fancy meme lords find this, Nothing Fancy's channel is good. It is in the positive realm, but you need to be careful, sir, because you're starting to tread towards areas that you're incorrect on. And the PSA Jackal is a bad gun, objectively speaking. Anyway, what was I saying?
Are you questioning the Allfather?
Now that we're talking about the Allfather Nothing Fancy, I also hated that video. But his angle was, if I remember, it was like, it's a fine truck gun, and it's also like a cheap piston rifle. All the things I hate was in that video, and so I was like, I just kind of like gritted my teeth through it, like, oh.
You know what's a fine gun for literally any purpose? A gun that there it is again, the Wisp. A gun that literally works when you need it to work. Whatever gun. If you're a Nothing Fancy fanboy and you're like, he said it was for only when you bury it in the backyard and you pick it up once for WROL. Well, you, sir, are an idiot, because you were encouraging Nothing Fancy to make another video on another PSA product that's bad.
Oh, firearm and fitness. You are right up my alley, buddy. My most hated video to date is on the Tacticon Predator V2. The effing thing broke after racking it off the optic and lost 0 so bad I noticed it on the draw. Wait a second. I thought those were just as good. The Tacticon guys lied to me? They lied to me about their that's good. We had a debate. That did not go well. But the Tacticon Chinese resellers, you mean their products are bad? You mean you wouldn't trust your life to them? What are you talking about, good sir?
Crazy. I've never even heard of it. Is it a red dot, you said, for a handgun, I'm guessing?
It's all they do is they take AliExpress red dots and laser optics and all the retarded stuff, and then they mark it up 250% and put it on their website.
And
Yep.
tourniquets.
And they're
That's a
no,
problem.
they took off their tourniquets because it was causing them too many issues.
I was gonna say that is the definition of a lawsuit. If I'm stupid
Allegedly.
enough to buy this thing and then stupid enough to apply it and it doesn't work, my last thoughts are gonna be, oh my God, I'm gonna die of a femoral bleed due to this Chinese company.
Well, yeah. Oh, and again, they were like $1. I don't even want to get into it. It's
All right.
it's so lame.
Sounds
It's
bad.
a terrible episode. Terrible episode. All right,
It
but
was.
I don't know why people love this episode so much. This was fantastic.
I don't
People
get it.
absolutely loved it. I don't know. But do we have any other topics we need to hit before we kill super chats and I can actually get back to the rest of my day? We weren't even supposed to be here that long. What are we doing?
Couple things before I list this out, guys. Whether you love him or hate him, I don't know why you're here if you hate him. This channel is actually honest. Okay, every conversation that Focus and I have, Richard and I have never had any conversations behind closed doors, but Focus
don't
and I have
want
had
to.
right.
I'm a horrible
Focus and I have
person.
had plenty of conversations behind closed doors, and he's always the same person you see right now. So make sure you like this video and actually do all the YouTube things to help out Focus. I know guys have been super chatting. That helps out a lot. I wish I had some of that in my channel.
You
Never
gotta
seen it.
stream, man. You gotta stream, and you gotta have good topics. Like, listen, if you want to get into it, man, like you just create a good culture. People love to show up and hate on each other and hate on me and hate on the guests, and they don't even care about us most of the time. They're just having their own arguments in chat.
That's fun. But the only things I'll say is, if you're a PSA fanboy, you just reevaluate your situation, right? Reevaluate why you support a what is this? Focus Trip is strong, and I saw him. Yeah. Oh, you remember the arc of when I used to meme on Hop and meme on myself saying I'm just trying to get strong enough to give Hop a hug after that X-ray Alpha stream when a grown man threatened a grown man. But I don't know. AAC, all I have in here that we wanted to talk about is AAC.
I can confirm, sorry to interrupt you. I can confirm that X-ray Alpha is very huggable in person. So
just in case. A hug?
No, I just shook his hand. I'm not a hugger like Hop is, but he has a very teddy bear like personality in person.
Yeah, all I have is on our notes that we talked about behind backstage was don't take a course from Goobers, allegedly. Okay, probably not a good investment. AAC ammo, probably not a good way to defend your life, allegedly. Yeah, I have a whole.
Well, and they just laid off like half their staff too.
Dude, don't even get me started. That's a whole nother the AAC thing is a whole live stream in and of itself. But pretty much, allegedly, this is just hypothetical allegedness. If you're gonna buy a PSA product or AAC ammo, or listen to Travis Haley, Goobers Group, Iraq Vet 88, Coleon Noir, or pretty much any of these idiots, you probably should just not do that and listen to more people that are normal dudes trying to help you out, right? But yeah, all I gotta say is be a pro, and thanks for having me on. And make sure you subscribe to my freaking YouTube channel.
And Trench Grenade is, of course, linked in the description. But we have a lot of super chats to get to before then.
God.
Just stick around for just a minute. I know. They never stopped.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Celluloid Dream for $1.99 says, Trench, any tips on how to make my Johnson bigger?
Testosterone and lift weights and push, pull legs. Push, pull legs, right? Pushing, back, and legs. I know you guys get it, but
pushing and
pulling what?
To get your Johnson bigger.
Push your audience away from you. So you test the PSA product, you pull them in, and then you push them away by telling them the PSA product is bad.
Rooftop Korean says, support my country and buy PMC. Genius.
PMC is actually not bad.
X-Tac is good.
Yeah.
I like X-Tac.
I've shot a lot of PMC.
Couch Warrior for $1.99 says, I'd sleep DJ Shipley.
Did you mean with?
Or I'd sleep with. Yeah, I'm not sure what he meant, but thank you for the $1.99, sir. Tap Rack Stovepipe for $4.99 says, for the record, my previous message was a joke. Also, looks like we're going to find some new oil in Ottawa soon. America, F yeah. Also, Night Force greater than ACOG. Hee. What Night Force? Because I like the ATACR, but none of the other ones are good. Well, the precision stuff is different. But
our designated marksman used the ATACR,
yeah,
the Night Force ATACR. That thing is pretty badass.
yeah,
But it's still not as durable. Like, this is a whole tangent, but you
yeah,
can.
yeah. Because that's the
My
thing too. Is
ACOG
I would take an ATACR above an ACOG until I like needed it to survive everything, right?
That's what I was gonna say. When I was a Bradley commander for 3 years, and when you're a Bradley commander, you don't use your M4A1, so you zero it, you qualify with it, and you strap it to the inside of the hole, right where the turret kind of is on the inside of the vehicle. You strap it by the barrel to the inside of the hole. You use your M17 or M9 on a chest holster or a shoulder holster when you're in the vehicle, right? So if you need to engage an enemy or whatever from the armor personnel carrier. But when we would go out to reshoot and re-qualify and zero with our ACOGs, my driver, my gunner, and myself, and my jump gunner, all of our ACOGs were perfectly still zeroed after a 9-month deployment. So that the ACOG, and you got to think, so this is like the hole, the gun is strapped to it. It is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Every, like, I don't know how many vibrations or, ooh, hey.
I just need that audio track right there for a second.
Yep.
But hey, anyway, but yes, you guys get the deal for real. Like the RMR and the ACOG TA31 that I've used in my cervix has been
in your what?
In my cervix has been very correct. But seriously, you guys get what I'm saying. Like if you're like Trench, I have $1,000 or however much the freaking ACOG costs, buy it. Put an RMR.
Yeah, they're about
on
$1,000.
It's not the best. The RMR is not the best, but for what the offset you get and the recoil mitigation that you get with it being mounted on the optic itself, it's good for night vision. It's good. I'm a shill for something I've used in my cervix, and
Speaking of service, Mitchell Black for 199 says, Trench, were you in the Army? I think he's just joking on you because bringing it up like 1,000 times.
I'm in the Army right now, unfortunately.
Tusk the Third for Tusk the Third for 199 says PSA equals TJ Maxx. Live, laugh, love. Indeed. Brian Waters for 199. Thank you very much. There says PSA equals the new Draco. Yeah, probably.
I don't know if that's a compliment because the Draco does run if you put a brace on it and you actually change the foregrip, it works, I guess. So PSA doesn't work. So no, Dracos work. Like I've owned one. They actually do work. Unless there's a new trend. I don't know if there's a new trend on them, but they used to.
Well, I think it's just like the cheap me make it. Yeah, and then you send your girlfriend in there to go buy it for you because yeah.
It's I get that whole meme. I'm just saying, like objectively, the M92 Yugo, right? What is it? The M92 Yugo? That gun works. It's just a fireball and shoots a bad cartridge, 7.62x39. There's a whole debate, but anyway.
Man Guy Dude for $5 says, not a fanboy, just noticing YouTuber, angry face, unreliable, junk, completely failed, bad pins, trash gun. Ben Stoger. Oh no, another $2,000 gun exploded. Oh well. Well, I think, Ben is a troll, if you didn't know this. So Ben likes to, he likes to have a little bit of fun. And Ben is also very famous for calling out bad companies like SIG and others. So I'm not sure that he is a chill guy. Oh no, another gun exploded. But I mean, yeah, the YouTubers tend to take a more angry approach because we're also explicitly reviewers, a lot of us. So when a product is bad, we're going to tell you like just don't buy it. It sucks, blah, 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 especially when we're comparing it to other stuff. Like Ben Stager at this point, who has like done everything and is, shooting whatever the heck he wants in like
including
7
RPGs.
different countries out of the year. Yeah. I don't think he doesn't take it as seriously. I don't think.
So here's the thing about
if you asked him about it, he would give you a funny answer.
So Ben is funny because he gets to do what I don't get to do. He gets to double dip. What I mean by that is he gets to I know there's a meme there. He gets to instruct at work. He gets to instruct professionally, but he gets to record himself instructing. So he can instruct, get paid to be an instructor. He gets paid to upload the content, and then he gets paid to put commentary about what he does. I am in a similar case where I'm an instructor, but I cannot legally film because I'm in the Army, right? So I can't legally film the content. So he is ahead of me. He's winning and because if I could record myself instructing, I would be rich. So Ben is probably rich. If I had to
Ben
be,
is winning at life.
yes,
Definitely
Ben is
winning at
winning
life.
because I am not. I'm a slave and an indentured servant, etc.
Although he
Department of
has
Defense,
probably
but-
taken more Sig Bukkake than anyone else.
Ouch.
Didn't he literally test it and it died? What happened with it? I don't remember. It's a whole
No,
deal.
I don't think he has like 10 videos on SIG, but he goes through a lot of their failures, a lot of the, the blow ups, a lot of the them shooting random cops at inopportune times when they weren't supposed to go off. A
That's
lot
a
of stuff like that. But I think his own stuff, he hasn't had like that much of a personal problem with. He's had issues with other guns and whatnot. But yeah,
He did
Ben
mention
doesn't.
the fact that he'd been hit in the face with exploding Sig on multiple occasions. So
Mhm. Yeah.
So one thing about Ben, he is a genuine dude. If you guys aren't following him, go from what I know and from every interaction privately I've had with him and on streams, he is just who he is, whether you like him or hate him. So he'll tell you the truth.
yeah, I had zero interaction with him whatsoever, and I was a nobody. And I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, would you like to come on our stream? Yeah, you won a fictional competition that didn't really happen." And he's like, "Yeah, cool, I'll come on."
Yeah. And
He's just normal,
I obviously
dude.
talked with him more and actually met him in person and whatnot, hung out with him a little bit. Yeah. Hilarious person. Nick for $5 says there's a G17 at Glock's Austria factory with a certificate from the Hartenberger Co. Stating that the gun was fired 317,000 times with the springs replaced once.
That's not possible.
It's one of those things where it's like, if true, cool. If not true, it's also like hosted at their facility. So it's like Glock lying about Glock's numbers. Like, even though I like Glock, I carry a Glock, I shoot a Glock, I don't like trust their marketing material more than I would trust PSA's marketing material, right? It's like,
similar to the time when Toyota found one of their customers had a like a Corolla or something that hit 1 million kilometers, so they bought it back and used it as marketing.
Sure, right. But you buy the 0.1% of cars that actually make it that far, and you're like, look how long our cars last, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Like, all right.
Just for chat, that's not possible. Just for chat, for that Glock to physically do that. It's not physically possible.
That sounds wildly astronomical to me, that it would survive that long, just everything in the gun with only the springs being replaced once. Like, that sounds astronomical to me. So, but again, it's the company. Why would I believe what the company is saying about their own handgun, right?
Like barrel survivability for rifles is about 7,000 to 10,000 roughly, right?
Again, that's a whole nother discussion because that's going to depend on length, on ammo type, on all this other sort of stuff. But
just
yeah,
generally
20,000 seems like a lot.
20 to 25,000 for a Glock. You're gonna start to see some differences, major differences in the accuracy and with the actual polymer grip, right? You're gonna start to see some weird things start to happen at about 25,000 rounds, in my experience, where it needs to be serviced majorly, right?
The Ancient Gloom says Richard's mic is fine. There are only 4 mic forges anyways. They're all the same. Yeah, that's a great argument, which I've heard and probably made in the past, which is bad. Don't do that. Man guy dude. Well, they're joking because I think your mic is fine, but then it talks to Trench's phone when he's live, so it makes it sound like your mic is bad, but your mic is actually fine.
Oh, okay.
To be clear, I tried to use my Rode mic, my Rode like audio equipment. For whatever reason, it just won't work for this. So,
Man guy dude for $5 says PSA is like Harbor Freight. I will use a $1,500 electrical tester for work, but I recommend most people use a Harbor Freight or Lowe's. It'll be fine. See, I don't even know if I agree with the it'll be fine. I don't like that argument all that much because it's fine is like for what? Like if you're not going to shoot stuff, if you're not going to shoot, you're not going to train, then yes, it will be perfectly fine sitting in your safe for all eternity. However, if you're going to be serious about shooting, training, competing, whatever it happens to be for you personally, then you might want to invest in something a little more worthwhile. It's like if you only plan on driving a car 1 day a week, it probably doesn't matter what car you buy, right? It doesn't really matter all that much. But if you're commuting 2 hours a day, well, you might want to invest in a more reliable car because it's going to be cheaper in the long run, right? So it depends on what you're doing. So fine is just a weird nebulous term that I don't like to use. It's like,
Dude,
I could call any optic I wanted fine. It's like, look, it does a
it
dot
works.
thingy. It works, right? But it's like
that was one of the things.
Low standard. That's such a low standard fine. I don't know what that means. Like fine for what? Because if our standard is if you don't shoot it, it works, then everything is fine. Literally everything is fine. So
yes, that was one of the things I had on the list. The list. What's on the list, Mason? What are the numbers, Mason?
What do the numbers mean?
So on the list, I had my PSA works fine. You don't shoot the gun. You put it in the corner, just like you on the cuck seat in the corner, right? You put it in the corner and you don't shoot the gun. So many guys are guilty of that. They're not going to admit it publicly. They buy the gun, they don't shoot the gun, right? They buy the gun, they don't shoot the gun. So if you don't shoot the freaking product, then yeah, it's going to work because you think it works in your brain, but it doesn't work mechanically. Like, I'm putting away the tiny little thing of notes now.
It's now been folded up. It's gone. Grantham's Conscience for $1.99 says over lube equals more sheets for her to change.
That's true, actually.
Right.
You want to put it up. So like doggy, you want to put like a pillow and like a towel down, and it's the whole deal. But if you're going to go for a long time, you want that to be good. And now I'm fired. All right, continue.
Andrew Bashad for $1.99 says, can we all acknowledge that cold weather training sucks? Yes. So tomorrow is usually when I would go shooting. Tomorrow it hits a high of -8. That's the high tomorrow. Yeah.
February? Yeah. I mean, in Alaska, it's until April. It's negatives until April.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to wait till Thursday where there's a high of 0 or 6. So I'll probably go shooting on Thursday this week. Push it back a little.
Yeah, in Alaska, it would be balaclava, level 1s, level 2s, right?
Oh, yeah. Garantham's Conscience for $4.99 says, I wish the chat would stop treating Trench like he's the Alex of gun tubers. I believe he means Alex from Sugar Empire. Which, no.
If I'm the Alex of Trigger Empire, if we're talking about the same guy, you have either overestimated or underestimated me. And that is impressive, or I don't know. You make a meme there, but I'm not that guy, pal. I'm
gonna leave my opinion out of that until the legal case gets settled.
I'm just gonna tell you, I'll tell you my case. That kid is a cringe lord and needs to go to the gym and needs to get out of the gun industry and go work at Waffle House for a while and get some standards and some integrity. Anyway,
that's racist, sir.
No, he will make a great Waffle House combatant someday.
I was a Waffle House employee for 2 years or a year and a half growing up in high school, so I can say that.
Helix92 says, how many M17/18s have you seen explode? Personally, I never see anyone shoot them in general.
M17s?
We have seen several of them in the Discord. We have an entire section of them where people just flood the chat with pictures and videos.
Well, like in person, whether I'm at just with people or doing whatever, like I never see anyone actually shoot an M17 or an 18.
Nobody I know has one.
I've competed.
I see them in gun stores all the time. I know one gun store has like 10 of them sitting in the bottom of their case, and they've been there for like a year.
Yeah, the dust still on them.
Yeah.
So I've competed with the M17 a lot for the Army. The I-Corps, we won the I-Corps competition 2 years in a row. You guys don't know what that means. That's okay. I don't care. But I've competed. I put tens of thousands of rounds, like legitimately tens of thousands of rounds. Whoa, who cares? Okay, tens of thousands of rounds through an M17. From my experience, the trigger is sloppy. It has a high it feels very flippy, right, compared to other guns, but no issues. Like legitimately, my team, we would bring 2 guns per competitor, right? We'd bring a complete M4A1 and an upper with a CCO. So a complete M4A1 with an ACOG on it and an extra upper with a CCO. That's an aim point. on it, and then we would bring an M17 and an extra M17, right, for the competitions that we would shoot. And both for regular line units I've been in and for all the competitions I've shot, which is a lot for the Army, I've never seen any issues, legitimately. Like I would tell you, trust me, I would tell you right now. But I've never seen any issues with the M17 at all, ever. So it's just for work. I don't know if the Army ones got, whatever.
I think SIG might have a higher emphasis on their military contract guns than their civilian guns, which might be part of the issues that people experience.
Right. In 2017, I helped field them in Fort Riley, Kansas. And it was either 2016 or 2017. I actually was in charge of fielding them and testing them when they got issued to 118 Infantry Battalion and 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team in Fort Riley, Kansas. I helped field them and test them, and we didn't have any issues at all with the M17s. We didn't have any issues at all. And then SIG randomly got recalled because they weren't drop safe at the time. So all of our guns at the time, 2016 or 2017, all of the guns got recalled, right? Mm-hmm. They all got disappeared. They all came back and they were fine, I guess. But at that time, there was a big deal about them not being drop safe. But we had no issues. Like I would tell you, if there were issues, there were no issues with the M17s at all. And that's why I kind of have this weird, I hate the 320. I hate that, what it has become. But this weird thing in my heart is like, I kind of love the M17 just because I've had so much time with her. You know what I mean? It's this weird thing. So mine has never failed. I mean, the hundreds and hundreds I've seen fire in front of me, I've never failed. So.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't used the M17s or 18s yet, so, but I probably wouldn't drop like $1,000 or more on them for what they're going for right now. And I think that's with the optic combo. But Tusk the Third for $4.99 says, nobody here has greased their butt and run backwards through a ripe cornfield? ? No, sir, but you sound like twice. The first time wasn't enough, huh?
I had a candidate. We were doing
to get back through. Yeah, he ran through the field first, and he had to run back through.
You're correct. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cahoots, but we had a candidate yell out twice. And it was like a super important test, and the whole, inside joke. I know, but
Fart Dart 3-1 for $1 doesn't say anything. Thank you very much, sir. Mace fell out the window for $5 says buys PSA for home defense. It doesn't work when I need it. Guess I'll die. Yeah, guess I'll just die now. And then Man Guy Dude is back for $5 says, you're exactly right. It'll be fine for people who don't shoot. That's my point. Do you use snap-on tools for your hobbies? Well, yes. No, but I don't use Play-Doh tools for my hobbies either. Right? I don't recommend like little Tykes hammers for my hobbies, right?
I use snap-on tools. Work. I absolutely use snap-on tools for my hobbies because my father bought snap-on tools back in the 70s, and they have a lifetime warranty. Anytime one of them breaks, I send it in, I get a new tool. I still have almost a full new set because anything that is used heavily eventually breaks, and I get a new one for free. So yeah, I do use snap-on tools for my hobbies, but that's just me personally.
Speaking of things that are used heavily, unlike my ex-wife, hey, check it out. Is the RXM, the Ruger RXM, is it going to be a successful 10,000 round burn down, or will it die at 4,000 rounds? Chat, post your bet, because I just bought that thing, and we're going to see the Ruger RXM.
Well, the funny thing is, right now they're like what, $400?
I bought it for exactly $400 at a 100. It was a President's Day sale. I bought it for $400 at a $100 discount, and I'm going to. I'll leave it up to chat and you guys. Richard and Focus, what do you guys think? Do I put the Holosun 507 comp on it and shoot it that way, or do I just shoot it like out of the box, the same testing parameters?
Well, if you're not getting any training value out of the dot on there, like, I don't know if it matters that much. I prefer to shoot with the dot, so I would put the dot on there. But I mean,
it makes it faster to shoot, I guess.
If you want to evaluate the optics mounting solution, put the dot on there, right?
So with the dagger, the optic came loose. I edited that point out because I was talking too much about the Holosun coming loose, and I was like, hey, Nighthawk just edited that part out. The guys don't care. But yeah, with the dagger, the optic came loose, and I had to retighten it down a couple times. But yeah,
you were talking too much during some. God, what? I'm just giving you a hard time.
It's common here. It's common at work. It's common in meetings. I talk too much.
Pat for 199 says, "Do you trust your wife when she says it's fine? My wife would never lie to me. How dare you? How dare you insinuate that, sir?" Man, guy, dude for $5 says, "I've seen many more SIGs explode than high points. SIGs must suck. It's not that one doesn't get shot. This is also why people get mad at PSA." Well, no, it's not. SIG and high point is a bad example. It's SIGs explode more than Glocks, Smith & Wessons, CZs, Canics. Just go down the list of any popular handgun, and it's like SIG is at the top for explosions, right? So of course high points don't get a shot as much as a SIG, right? Not what we're saying. They explode more than and go off more than any other popular handgun, right? All right. Steve-O Smithden for $5 says nothing. Just drops it on the table and walks away slowly.
Damn.
That's
And then
good.
start 3-1. Meant to comment, but at Trench Grenade, air assault. I don't know.
That sounds like one of my candidates because I'm an airborne dude. There's airborne and there's air assault. Air assault is helicopter dudes. Airborne is jumping out of planes, and it sounds like one of my candidates just making a joke. But airborne all the way.
Daddy Actual says, "Trench, you still haven't hit me back up about range fun activities. I'm waiting. Are you going to talk to Daddy Actual?"
Hey, Daddy. Hey, Daddy.
All right. Well, hey, that is 40 minutes later, but now we can actually do our outros. So, a Trench Grenade. I'm giving you 30 seconds to do your outro. Timer's going now.
Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for being here. Make sure you like the video. That's all I got.
Perfect. Yeah, and Trench Grenade, his channel is linked in the description. And I think I posted the videos earlier on in chat, but they are long gone by now. Richard, what do you got for us?
I want everybody to smash the like button before they go and to go and subscribe to the Clips channel. Post about 4 videos a week over there now. That's about average of what I'm doing over there now. So go subscribe. We have fun. We make jokes.
All right. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out. Go ahead and check out the Discord. 2.5 hours on a Sunday night, which was kind of chill. I kind of liked it. It was earlier than what I usually do, so maybe we'll do this again in the future. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless.
Yeah. Damn.